This young man was originally just an ordinary supermarket manager, but he was unlucky enough to be caught in the apocalypse. At that time, Chung-dik had already managed to stockpile a fair amount of supplies, but his life still ended tragically when that bitch he worked with lured him into opening the door, after which he was dragged into his home by neighbors who were worse than animals. They fought over his supplies and even cut off parts of Chung-dik's body for food. The sheer agony at that moment made Chung-dik grit his teeth and swear that if he had a next life, he would definitely repay this debt 100, even 1,000 times over. And it seems his deep-seated hatred made even the heavens take pity because Chung-dik was reincarnated. He returned to November 12th, 1 month before the apocalypse. The sky over High City was still clear and blue, as if everything had just been a nightmare. But Chung-dik knew what he had been through. It was definitely not an illusion. On December 12, 2050, Earth was affected by a supernova explosion 500,000 light-years away, triggering a global Cambridge storm. And High City, which was usually so warm, had to endure temperatures dropping to minus 67.10 degrees. The blizzard at that time lasted for an entire month, burying the city. Many species went extinct on a massive scale, including humans. In his past life, it wasn't easy for Chung-dik either. He had to rely on his position as a supermarket warehouse manager to hoard supplies, only to be targeted by a group of people who were no better than beasts. They even dismembered his body for food. Now that he has been reborn, Chung-dik absolutely cannot let that tragedy happen again. The most urgent task before him now is to ensure his own safety and stockpile enough goods to survive when the apocalypse arrives. Only then can he get his revenge on that bunch of scumbags. Speaking of supplies, Chung-dik had already thought it through carefully. First and foremost, he needed enough food. After that, some entertainment for the apocalypse, like a gaming console. He also needed enough weapons to beat those people so badly they couldn't fight back. Just as he was lost in thought, something suddenly flashed past and entered his vision. He vigorously rubbed his eyes only to realize with a shock that by some mysterious force, he now possessed an infinite pocket dimension. It was truly like something out of a science fiction movie. With this, he could store resources without a care. If he could use it to clear out the Hua Nam warehouse of the supermarket he managed, he wouldn't have to worry about supplies for 10 lifetimes. At this thought, Chung-dik finally relaxed. With a pocket dimension inside him, the threat of people coveting his supplies was no longer so serious. He decided to go and enjoy a feast. In 1 month, there would be no more chances to eat these delicacies. Chung-dik went to the most high-end restaurant in High City, ordered a table full of delicacies, and began to eat ravenously. The waiter brought the bill, and looked at him with great pity, thinking to himself, where did this nouveau riche come from? Eating so much so fast? Is he in a hurry to get reincarnated? Chung-dik pretended not to see the other man's expression. He knew what this person was thinking, but when the apocalypse comes, so many people would fight, tooth and nail just for a single packet of instant noodles. By then, wanting to eat dishes like these would be a true impossibility. So he focused on his meal until his stomach was full, and only after paying the 50,000 yuan bill did Chung-dik leave, satisfied. He even received a VIP card from the restaurant. As Chung-dik was leaving, he was accidentally spotted by Fung Vu-ting and her best friend. Chung-dik had always been pursuing Fung Vu-ting, but she was the very person who, in his past life, had lured him into opening the door, allowing that mob of neighbors to flood in and cause his gruesome death. Both Fung Vu-tin and her best friend were materialistic types. Seeing Chung-dik walking out of a 5-star restaurant, how could they possibly ignore it? Fung Vu-ting, you're so lucky. The little puppy dog chasing you turned out to be a secret millionaire's son. Fung Vu-tin's best friend nudged her lightly with her elbow. Seeing this, Fung Vu-tin decided to probe a little. She approached Chung-dik to strike up a conversation. Chung-dik, what a coincidence! Where are you headed? Her two-faced, fake innocent act made Chung-dik want to puke. How could he forget that it was because of this very woman, that in his previous life, he was chopped into ribs and cooked in a soup? That grudge couldn't be let go so easily. Therefore, Chung-dik wanted to let her slowly experience utter misery. As it happened, he needed to go gather supplies, and free labor like Fung Vu-ting had just presented herself on a silver platter. Why wouldn't he make use of her? With that thought, Chung-dik pulled a VIP card from his pocket and said magnanimously, I'm heading to the supermarket to buy a few things. The eyes of Fung Vu-ting and her best friend immediately lit up. What a coincidence! We were just planning to go shopping too. It's on the way. We can go together.
Right. We can help you carry your things. We're neighbors, after all. We have to help each other out, right?
Trungdik sneered internally, utterly disgusted by their act. But he still let them follow him into the supermarket. Then, he started grabbing items like a madman. Fung Vu-ting and her best friend pushed 2 shopping carts piled high with food behind him. They began to get suspicious. Trungdik, with this much food. Just how many people is this for? Are you having some kind of event? And you didn't tell us a thing. Yeah, are you going camping or something? The sons of rich families don't usually eat this stuff, Trungdik replied in a half-joking, half-serious tone. Life is unpredictable. What if the apocalypse were to strike one day? How would we survive? I have to stock up to make it through. Of course, Fung Vu-tin and her friend didn't believe a word of it. They just thought Trungdik was making up a clumsy excuse. Since he clearly didn't want to reveal his true purpose, she didn't press the issue. If he wouldn't say, then so be it. I got so tired helping you push the cart today. You have to treat me to dinner later, Fung Vu-ting said in a coquettish tone. I've been a little busy lately, so I don't have any free time. Let's go next month. Trungdik tossed another pile of food into the cart, then replied nonchalantly. The cart got heavier and heavier, leaving Fung Vu-tin and her best friend panting from exhaustion. But wanting to latch onto a rich kid like Trungdik, they could only grit their teeth and endure the life of a laborer. For a rich guy, you're really stingy, her best friend grumbled. When Fung Vu-tin heard him make an excuse, she couldn't hold back. She muttered to herself, but he overheard it. Fung Vu-tin's face went pale, afraid that Trungdik had heard her. Worried he'd be offended, she quickly spoke up to smooth things over. Tai Nin was just tired, so she was talking nonsense. Please don't take it to heart. We're all good friends, after all. Right, Tai Nin, having calmed down, quickly added, I was being petty and shouldn't have judged you. Please don't hold it against me. Of course I don't mind, Trungdik replied cheerfully, but his expression clearly had nothing to do with the words, I don't mind. Trungdik then took another lap around the supermarket. Only after buying a few more items was he satisfied enough to pull out his card and pay. Fung Vu-tin and Tai Nin still had to help him push everything all the way to the entrance of their apartment complex, so tired they could barely breathe. And the scene of him hoarding so much food was witnessed by many people. However, this was exactly the effect Trungdik wanted. He planned to use this information to lure his enemies into a trap, making the wicked target him out of greed during the apocalypse. That way, he could get revenge on the wolf-hearted monsters who had hacked him to death in his past life. And so, even before the apocalypse began, a wicked person's greed was already stirred by the sight of Trungdik's overflowing shopping carts. A prime example was his neighbor, Mrs. Lam. Holding her little grandson, she slowly approached to strike up a conversation. Little Trung, why did you suddenly buy so many things? How are you ever going to eat all this food? How about you share a little with me, Mrs. Lam? As she spoke, she deliberately moved closer so the grandson in her arms could snatch a bag of cookies from the cart. Unexpectedly, Trungdik was not the least bit polite, showing no deference for the old or the young. He snatched the bag of cookies right back. I'm so sorry, but these things, I want to keep them for myself. Seeing how aggressive Trungdik was, the old woman and the little boy started to throw a fit. The little brat in Mrs. Lamb's arms, who had looked so well-behaved a moment ago, and now started wailing, flailing his arms and legs while shouting, You're mean! Give me back my cookies or I'll beat you up! Seeing how aggressive he was despite being so small, Trungdik knew this child had been completely spoiled by his family. All the more reason not to be polite. He made a terrifying face and snarled back, Say one more word and I'll rip your mouth off. The child was terrified by his expression and his words. He immediately burst into tears and buried his head in his grandma's shoulder. The grandson had lost the battle, so it was Mrs. Lamb's turn to take the stage. Although she and her grandson were clearly in the wrong, she arrogantly berated Trungdik as if he were the one at fault. You're a grown man. Why are you squabbling with a child? It's just a box of cookies. What's the big deal? Just give it to him. How about this? I'll buy this box. I'll pay you later. Acting as if anyone was trying to take advantage of him, Mrs. Lam grew even more aggressive, but Trungdik didn't back down. He held out his QR code in front of her. If you want to buy it, pay me right now. Otherwise, go buy it at the supermarket yourself. From the start, Mrs. Lam never had any intention of paying. Faced with such a stubborn young man, she turned purple with rage and began cursing nonstop. You insolent, arrogant brat! What's wrong with showing an elder a little respect? I'm an official on the neighborhood management committee, you know.
You cheapskate who'd squeeze blood from a stone. We'll see how you manage to live here from now on.
Trong Dick completely ignored her insults as he, Phuong Vu Tin, and her friend brought the groceries home. After they left, Trong Dick immediately stored all his supplies in his dimensional space. He hadn't bought too much today because he wanted to test the effects of storing items inside it. After this, he would continue stockpiling. Since it was a deep freeze apocalypse, Trong Dick also drafted a plan to improve his house by adding a layer of insulation and buying more heaters. I'll reinforce it with steel plating to turn the apartment into an impregnable fortress. Crowbars, knives, and axes are all easy to find. The only difficult part is getting firearms like guns. He didn't know where to buy them, but there was still a whole month until the apocalypse, so Zhang Yi was still quite relaxed. He silently calculated the time. I'll sell off all the assets I have. As long as I have money, there's a way. The next day, Zhang Yi took some things out of his alternate dimension to check on them. The meat hadn't spoiled. It was just that the live fish he'd put in yesterday was now dead. But it hadn't decomposed either. It seems this alternate dimension can't support living creatures, but time moves differently than it does outside, so preserving fresh food is not a problem. At this thought, Zhang Yi's mood brightened considerably. He pulled out his phone and called the Hong Fook Thien Ha restaurant, wanting to speak directly to the manager, saying he needed to book a 500-table banquet. It would take place over 3 days and 3 nights. The restaurant manager, having landed a huge client, couldn't hide the joy in his voice. "Hello, Mr. Zhang. I'm the manager of the restaurant. A 500-table banquet will cost no less than 1,000,000 yuan. If you need it, we'll start preparing immediately, but we'll need a 200,000 yuan deposit first." "Not a problem. Send me your account number in a bit and I'll transfer the money to you." After hanging up, Zhang Yi opened his safe and took out the deed to his house. He didn't hesitate to take it to the bank. After all, in 1 month, money and laws would all become useless. But right now, he desperately needed money to stockpile supplies. So, Zhang Yi used the deed to the house his parents left him to get a loan of 6 million yuan. Combined with all his savings, he still didn't have enough money for his plan, especially after spending over 1 million on that 500-table banquet. The rest should be enough to beef up the defenses for the apartment. But besides those expenses, he still had to buy a large amount of medicine and weapons. He was racking his brain, trying to figure out where to get enough money. Suddenly, Zhang Yi heard a voice. "Hey, buddy, you look like you need some cash?" Zhang Yi turned around to see a complete stranger. The man introduced himself, saying he worked for a finance company with easy approvals and much higher loan limits than any bank. As soon as he heard that, Zhang Yi knew it was a loan shark company. But with the end of the world just around the corner, this guy was basically delivering money right to his doorstep. Zhang Yi immediately put on an award-winning performance, looking troubled as he replied, "You guys, can you really lend me money? I need 5 million yuan. If you can just help me get through this tough time, then I can pay you back in 3 months at the most. It's really negotiable. Our lending budget is huge. Let's head back to the office and discuss this further." With that, the loan shark led Zhang Yi to meet his boss. The moment that man saw how young he was, he immediately went for the intimidation tactic, stating bluntly that his company's interest rates were sky high. But Zhang Yi couldn't care less about that, because from the very beginning, he had no intention of paying them back. Seeing how earnest Zhang Yi appeared, the boss nodded and said he could lend him 5 million yuan, but with a 40% interest rate, requiring a repayment of 7 million. As expected of loan sharks, to come up with such an outrageous figure. Of course, to draw up a loan contract, he still had to offer something valuable as collateral. Earlier, Zhang Yi had already mortgaged the house his parents left him to the bank. Now he was also putting up the apartment he was living in, plus a Mercedes-Benz worth 300,000 yuan. But the other party still wanted to squeeze him for more. "Mr. Zhang, this apartment of yours is worth 4 to 5 million at most. If you want to walk away with 5 million from here, my company would be taking a bit of a loss. Boss Chen, you have to help me. I need the money urgently. As long as you can transfer the funds today. I'll even take just 4.5 million. Zhang Yi pleaded desperately, but was still refused. After a few rounds of haggling, the boss made a show of examining his property deeds for a long time. Finally, he agreed to the figure of 4 million yuan, but still demanded 7 million back in repayment. Zhang Yi had achieved his goal and was absolutely ecstatic on the inside. The extreme cold apocalypse was now less than a month away. These two morons would never dream that they'd never be able to collect that 7 million yuan. After signing the contract, Zhang Yi quickly left. The two fools thought they'd gotten a great deal out of him, so they were reveling in their joy, completely unaware that their death anniversaries were just around the corner. Zhang Yi got back to his car. His phone quickly chimed with a notification. 4 million yuan had been deposited into his account. Now he had enough money to fortify his apartment. Immediately, Zhang Yi drove to the John Long Security Company. It was one of the largest security firms in the country, providing services to countless politicians and famous business tycoons. In his past life, Zhang Yi had heard that this company built a state-of-the-art 1 billion yuan safe room for the son of a real estate magnate. Later, during the apocalypse, that rich kid was able to live comfortably thanks to that room. That's why Zhang Yi sought them out in this life. After being invited in by the receptionist, Zhang Yi was quickly introduced to the company's head of operations, a man named Wu Huai-ren. Before Wu Huai-ren could even finish his greeting, Zhang Yi shot up and grabbed his hand.
I need you to build me a highest-level safe room, one that can withstand the apocalypse.
Seeing he'd landed a big spender, Wu Huai-ren became particularly enthusiastic. He immediately presented Zhang Yi with a list of construction options. He didn't find Zhang Yi's request strange at all. After all, there were plenty of rich people in the world, worried about their own safety. And that's exactly how their Zhanlong Security Company made its money. Zhang Yi wanted to reinforce his room with aerospace-grade material. He specified a 200mm thick alloy to directly replace the existing walls and floor. The balcony also had to be refitted with the strongest grade of bulletproof glass, even in extreme temperatures. It couldn't undergo any significant changes. Next, the ventilation system must be fitted with an air filtration function to prevent any kind of harmful gas from entering the house. Then the surveillance system must have 360-degree cameras with no blind spots installed both inside and outside the apartment, along with an immediate alert activation mode. Finally, reinforce the doors. Replace them all with thick, heavy-duty anti-theft doors made of the same material as a bank's gold vault door. Even a small bomb would have a hard time breaking through it. After hearing Trong Dic's requests, Ngo Huainyan was a bit stunned. Even though this was just an apartment of less than 120 square meters on the 24th floor, with these modifications, and adding some weaponry, it would basically become a fortress. "Oh, so you've even studied fortresses?" Trong Dic asked with excitement. "Yes, I used to be a mercenary overseas, so I'm very familiar with this type of military knowledge." Hearing this, Trong Dic felt like he had struck gold. He leaned in a little closer to Ngo Huainyan, then asked in a low voice if he knew any way to buy firearms. Hearing this, Ngo Huainyan's expression immediately turned serious. Because not just for him, but for anyone, personal possession of firearms is illegal, Mr. Truong. Have you run into some kind of terrifying enemy? Seeing the other man's serious concern for his situation, Trong Dic continued to put on his award-winning act. "That's right. I've made enemies with some people in high places. They are ruthless, and they have guns. This safe room project is already costing me 8 million. During that time, if anything were to happen, you guys would be in a tough spot too. So, if you helped me get a little something for self-defense, I'd feel a lot more secure, right?" Ngo Huainan chuckled to himself. There were ways to get guns, of course, but he couldn't just casually provide them to someone with an unknown background like Truong Dic. Therefore, Ngo Huainan tactfully replied that he would complete the safe room construction for Truong Dic within half a month. During that period, if he heard any news about getting a gun, he would let him know. Truong Dic nodded and then left the security company. His next destination was the hunting club. He could easily find some important melee weapons there. He had gotten his hunting license in his spare time before, so now he could buy a whole bunch of bows and crossbows, or hunting knives without worrying about anyone giving him trouble. After getting all this ready, Trong Dic returned home. Just then, he saw several cargo trucks being stopped at the entrance to the residential complex. "You can't come in. To bring in this much stuff, you definitely need my boss's approval. I can't just let you in on my own authority." It turned out to be the security guard, Uncle View. Trong Dic quickly walked over and said in a loud voice, "Uncle View, these are all trucks delivering food for me. Just let them in." The moment he said that, not only Uncle View, but all the onlookers gathered around were stunned. These 10-plus trucks were all filled with food from Hong Fook Thien Ha, a famous 5-star hotel and restaurant, such a huge quantity. Not to mention the cost, which was in the millions. They really wondered where Trong Dic was planning to store it all. Phuong Vu Tin was also in the crowd at that moment. The last time she saw Trong Dic spend 50,000 on a meal, she was still skeptical. But now, seeing him spend millions to prepare a feast, she was utterly convinced that Trongdik was truly loaded. She immediately started thinking of ways to make him completely devoted to her, so she could freely gold dig from him. Take it to the warehouse first. I've already spoken with the manager over there. After coming to an agreement with Uncle View, Trongdik signaled for the convoy to enter the complex. He had also spotted Phuong Vu Tin in the crowd, but he still wanted to continue luring her into his trap. He would wait until the apocalypse truly began. He himself would be the one to drag her to hell. The staff from the Hong Fook Thien Ha restaurant quickly left after moving everything into the warehouse. Only Trongdik was left, standing before the massive amount of food with a joy that couldn't be described in words. He used to think he'd have to eat meagerly after the apocalypse. Who would have thought he'd suddenly get a pocket dimension? These delicious dishes. Plus the concentrated hot pot bases he'd pre-ordered and the fresh ingredients in the Hoa Nam warehouse were the most extravagant delicacies of the apocalypse. And he owned so much of it. It seemed like he was set for life when it came to food. With the food supply stockpiled, the very next day, workers arrived at Trongdik's apartment and began reinforcing its defenses. All of this was witnessed by the neighbors, and everyone thought he was a lunatic. Has that Trongdik guy lost his mind recently? Why is he working himself to the bone every day? A few days ago, I saw him at the supermarket buying 3 whole carts full of food. You'd think the world was about to end. What's the point of hoarding so much food? Isn't it just going to go to waste? He's a total psycho. Trongdik pretended not to hear his neighbor's gossip. After all, in less than a month, they would all be green with envy over him. But the most important matter at hand is that Ngo Huainyan has gotten back to me, saying that in 3 more days, someone can supply what you need. It's just that the price is a bit high. That's not a problem. As long as the quality is good, it's fine, Trongdik replied immediately, now that he had both food and weapons. With the basics settled, Trongdik handed over the apartment renovation to the construction crew, while he moved into a hotel for a few days. He had also used his position as the warehouse manager of Hoa Nam Supermarket to approach Director Chow, buying a large quantity of supplies from the warehouse at double the market price. At the same time, he submitted a request for a long 20-day annual leave to conveniently monitor the progress. With the fortification of his home, everything was going according to plan with the amount of food, daily necessities, and tools he had accumulated. Never mind just surviving the apocalypse, he could even support an additional 1,000 people without a problem. But Trongdik was someone who thought ahead. Because he had been reborn, he was terrified of the butterfly effect taking place. Therefore, to be safe, in case the apocalypse came a week early, he had to move this whole pile of supplies very quickly. He couldn't afford any slip-ups. As he was about to leave the office, Trongdik happened to see Phuong Vu Tin chatting with a male colleague named Chow Bang in the coffee room. Vu Tin, are you free this weekend? I have 2 concert tickets. How about we go together? Thank you, Chow Bang, but I already have plans with someone else this weekend. I'm so sorry, Phuong Vu Tin replied tactfully, because right now all she wanted was to cling tightly to Trongdik. Just then, Chow Bang saw Trongdik walking by. He had always been a thorn in his side, since they were both pursuing Phuong Vu Tin. So Chow Bang shot him a look. Seeing Trongdik, he didn't think twice before loudly berating him, calling him less than a man, for making Phuong Vu Tin help him move things all the way up to the 24th floor, causing her to complain about back and neck pain all day at work. He even demanded that Trongdik give Phuong Vu Tin 500 RMB for a doctor's visit. Trongdik smirked coldly. This treacherous woman. It seems she's already started showing off to others about my supply hoarding. The apocalypse hasn't even started and she's already like this. So, what happened in my past life really isn't that hard to understand. It's just that I can't stand that guy Chow Bang's attitude at all. Trongdik had originally planned to ignore him, but he suddenly closed the distance, his face cold as he shot back at the other man. Phuong Vu Tin offered to help me move. I never begged or asked her. Besides, who the hell are you to point fingers in my face? You really think you're somebody, huh? Trongdik's intimidating aura made Chow Bang involuntarily take 2 steps back, and he stammered, I was just trying to reason with you. Why are you yelling like that? Vu Tin, you see? I told you this Trongdik guy is no good. You should stay away from him from now on. Phuong Vu Tin's gaze was fixed on Trongdik's back, her heart filled with anxiety because for the past few days, Trongdik seemed to have become a completely different person. He didn't initiate conversations with her anymore, nor did he text her goodnight. Guessing that something must have happened, Phuong Vu Tin grew even more anxious, afraid she was about to lose her gold mine. The day Chuang Dich left Huanam Supermarket, he went to the Hongfuk Tianha Hotel. He rented a room to rest, and just after showering, he received a text from Phuong Vu Tin. Trong Dick, I feel like you've been a bit strange lately. You started hoarding supplies and renovating your apartment. Did something happen recently? Also, we haven't been in touch much lately, have we? It's making me feel a little lonely. Looks like this woman isn't stupid. She's starting to suspect me. But even so, Trong Dick had no intention of replying to her. Being ignored by him, Phuong Vu Tin on the other end was so angry her head was steaming. This damn Trong Ditch! Has he been possessed lately or something? I actually reached out to him and he has the nerve to ignore my message? The devil only knows what he's buying so much food and drink for. At this moment, Tai Nin stepped out of the bathroom and chimed in. Phuong Vu Tin thought for a long time before quietly asking her best friend, Nin, do you think something is really going to happen soon? Could it be that Trong Dick received some kind of inside information? Is that why he started hoarding supplies? What answered her was a burst of loud laughter. Tai Nin thought Phuong Vu Tin had read so many apocalypse novels she'd gone silly. If something were really going to happen, the government would have notified everyone, not just Trong Dick. We should just live our lives calmly. If we go hoarding supplies like Trong Ditch, on the contrary, that would just make you a laughingstock. Phuong Vu Tin felt that her friend had a point, and only then did she go to sleep, resigned to enduring Trong Dick's cold shoulder for another week. Because for the entire week that followed, Trong Dick's mind was only on that weapon, the one Ngo Huai Nhan introduced. It took a week before he could finally get his hands on that gun. Although it was a bit pricey, it was extremely useful. Having it in his hands made Trong Ditch feel much more secure in this world. Just as he was admiring the gun, the doorbell rang again. This time, it was a delivery person with a large quantity of medicine to help him deal with illnesses in the apocalypse. Trong Dick thought for a moment. Then he said to the delivery guy, Actually, I have some other things I need to order on a food delivery app. If you don't mind, could you post this notice up first? And over there? No problem. Where do you need it delivered? To my house. I'm heading home now. I can give you a ride. By the time Trong Ditch got home, the people from the security company had already arrived for the final inspection. The fortification project was complete. Both the quality and the speed of the renovation were impeccable. They had followed Trong Dick's instructions perfectly, reinforcing the entire room with a 200-millimeter thick alloy. The ventilation system was military-grade, capable of filtering out all harmful air, preventing any potential poison gas attacks from the outside. Additionally, the heating system throughout the room had been redone using specialized materials from the Arctic Science Research Institute, fulfilling Trong Dick's insulation requirements. The windows had also been replaced with a bulletproof type that was even stronger than the alloy wall in the room. Moreover, it was one-way glass, making it convenient for letting in light and observing the outside. Finally, to ensure the client's safety, they had specially installed a surveillance system throughout the entire building. A total of 300 cameras allowed Trong Ditch to monitor every single floor of this building. All of this was accomplished in 10 consecutive days and nights without rest. The quality even exceeded his expectations, leaving Trong Dick extremely satisfied. According to the contract, he needed to pay the remaining balance within the next 3 months. He verbally agreed to pay on time, but Trong Dick had absolutely no intention of doing so. After all, when the apocalypse arrives, it's not even certain they'll survive. Money would be useless then anyway. After the security company staff left, the final supply truck arrived. It carried the rarest and also the most important item, clean water for when the entire globe freezes over. Seeing Trong Ditch buy an entire large truck of water, the people in his neighborhood started to gather around curiously. A few days ago, it was over 10 trucks of food. Now it was an entire tanker of water. They all thought Trong Ditch had lost his mind. Only Uncle View, the neighborhood security guard, was genuinely concerned for him. Young Trong, what on earth are you going to do with so much water? If you need any help, just let me know and I'll help you. Trong Dick remembered his past life when the entire globe was frozen. Uncle View had given his last portion of food to a starving mother and child, and he himself ended up dying. This old man was one of the few people who treated him kindly in the neighborhood. So, Trong Ditch leaned in and whispered in his ear, Uncle View, the temperature this year is a bit unusual. I got a tip that this winter is going to be extremely bad. To be on the safe side, you should also prepare some food and drinks. What if the price of supplies skyrockets later? Young Trong, is that for real? Is this information reliable? Uncle View asked, half believing, half doubting. Look at how much stuff I've already prepared. You could stock up on some noodles and water. Those things won't go bad even if you store them for a long time. After thinking for a moment, Uncle View nodded. All right, I live alone anyway, so stocking up a bit wouldn't hurt. However, just as he finished his sentence, another man grabbed him and pulled him away. He advised Uncle View not to believe Trong Dick, because he's been acting so mysteriously lately, buying up so much stuff. The whole neighborhood was buzzing with rumors that he'd gone crazy. Don't say that, I believe him, Uncle View replied, but he was still dragged away by the other man. Even so, he managed to shout back towards Trong Dick, Uncle Thang is just talking nonsense. Don't take it to heart, young Trong. Of course, Trong Dick didn't take it to heart. He had already warned the people he could. Whether they believed him or not was their own business. There were 20 days left until the apocalypse. During these days, besides eating like a starving beast at restaurants every day, Truong Dich also made a point to train his body and practice his skills with the bow and gun. He also deliberately stockpiled as many supplies from the supermarket as possible. After all, there was no telling how long the apocalypse would last. The more supplies you had, the better your chances of surviving longer. As the countdown reached 3 days until the apocalypse, Truong Dick's leave of absence was over. He returned to work at the supermarket, but his main goal was to acquire more supplies one last time. That day, Truong Dick put sleeping pills into some tea. He then offered it to his colleagues and subordinates. Since it was cold, no one could refuse a cup of delicious hot tea. And so, about half an hour later, they were all passed out asleep. They were sleeping so soundly that even a clap of thunder next to their ears couldn't wake them. Truong Dick was very satisfied. Now he could go get his supplies in peace. After turning off all the surveillance equipment, Zhang Yi went down to the supermarket warehouse alone using his pocket dimension. He very quickly cleared out everything inside. He even found a batch of high-quality clothing, the latest scientific product from 2050, winter gear that could withstand temperatures as low as -100 degrees Celsius. With this, even if he had to face a frigid ice age, Zhang Yi could still confidently and comfortably survive. After a busy period, he had moved everything from the warehouse without anyone knowing. Normally, this was something absolutely impossible for an ordinary person to do. That's why he wasn't afraid of being suspected. Afterwards, Zhang Yi returned to his office, drank a cup of tea with a smaller dose of sleeping pills, and collapsed onto a chair. As long as he wasn't suspected for the time being, this secret would be buried forever when the apocalypse arrived. Not long after, the employees began to groggily wake up. The disappearance of the goods in the warehouse was quickly discovered. Zhang Yi, who was deep in sleep, was grabbed by the shoulders by an employee and shaken frantically until he woke up. Manager, something terrible has happened. Wake up! It's like we've seen a ghost. Our warehouse is completely empty. What? Zhang Yi pretended to be horrified and shot to his feet. He then went down to the warehouse to check, though he already knew perfectly well there was nothing left. Zhang Yi once again put on his award-winning performance. He clutched his head in distress. What on earth happened? Why is everything in the warehouse gone? Zhang Yi's acting was truly god-tier. Not a single employee suspected him. The news quickly reached the higher-ups and the director called immediately. He asked Zhang Yi what in the world had happened, his voice on the other end of the line filled with anxiety. Zhang Yi, I'm being told everything in the warehouse has vanished. What the hell is going on? We're not sure of the specific situation either. Our rotating breaks were only 2 hours apart, but everything in the Huanan warehouse has vanished into thin air. Zhang Yi replied in an innocent tone, which only made the person on the other end even more frantic. That's impossible! Did you use the shift change as an opportunity to steal the goods, you little punk? Despite being directly accused, Zhang Yi wasn't scared at all. After all, before his rebirth, he was a dedicated manager of a state-supplied warehouse and would never do something so despicable. And the director knew that very well. Besides, no one knew he had a pocket dimension, so they couldn't possibly imagine that Zhang Yi had the ability to move tons of goods from the warehouse in the blink of an eye. In my opinion, this matter is too serious for us to handle on our own. We should report it to the higher-ups and actively cooperate with their investigation. If we delay, it will only become more serious when they look into it, Zhang Yi proactively suggested. His director thought that made sense and immediately reported it to the general manager to let them handle the matter. After hanging up, Zhang Yi calmly reassured his subordinates. The director has decided to report this to the higher-ups. Someone will be here to investigate shortly. Just make sure to cooperate fully with them. There's nothing to be afraid of. Oh, that's good. Thanks, manager.
A few people secretly sighed in relief. Taking rotating breaks was normal, nothing to worry about. If you haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to fear. Why would guys like you, who earn a few thousand yuan a month, risk doing something like this? Zhang Yi continued to reassure them. After all, he was the culprit, and these people were innocent. Of course, the police wouldn't find anything. Very quickly, people from the head office were sent down. Along with the police, they began their investigation. As the warehouse manager, Zhang Yi was the first to be questioned, but he answered calmly from beginning to end, because he had already planned out every single step. After the interrogation, the police officer reminded him that he was absolutely not to leave Tianhai City for the next few days until the case was clearer. Of course, I'm not going anywhere, Zhang Yi replied confidently. How could he go anywhere when the apocalypse was in 2 days? Besides, the shelter he'd spent all his money building was right here in this city. News of the large-scale theft at the Huanan supermarket warehouse quickly spread throughout the city, but to Zhang Yi, it wasn't particularly important. The most important thing was that in just 2 days, the apocalypse would truly begin. At that moment, the first snowflakes had already started to fall. People on the streets were all in a hurry. They rushed home, cursing the erratic weather. The temperature this year was already much lower than last year's, but absolutely no one knew about the approaching danger. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yi couldn't help but sigh. In just 2 more days, this world would truly be wiped out. For the next 2 days, he stayed at home, because the investigation at the supermarket was still ongoing. At exactly 2 a.m. on October 12th, the after effects of the supernova explosion impacted the entire globe. The temperature plummeted, bringing a destructive cataclysm to the planet. Zhang Yi was at home. Looking through the window at the whiteout blizzard, he slowly drank a glass of warm water and mumbled, "What's coming has finally come." His house was warm, a stark contrast to the scene outside. It was just that other people didn't seem to have sensed the danger yet. In the employee group chat, Fang Yuting even cheerfully sent a selfie, seeming to be enjoying the sight of the thick winter snow, something southerners like them rarely get to see. Zhang Yi looked out from his balcony and saw her and Kai Ning happily taking pictures in the apartment complex courtyard. He chuckled to himself. After all, this was just the beginning. This blizzard would last at least 3 months. After that, the temperature would just keep dropping. By then, they wouldn't be in the mood to admire the snow anymore. Early the next morning, many people on the first floor couldn't get out of their homes anymore because their doors were blocked by a thick layer of snow. The weather forecast hadn't mentioned it would snow this heavily, so they started to panic. The temperature was dropping lower and lower, and many people were already getting sick from not having enough warm clothes. Tucked in his warm blanket, Zhang Yi didn't feel any of these initial hardships at all. But just as he was about to fall asleep, he was jolted awake by the piercing sound of his phone ringing. It was still early in the morning, and Fang Yuting was already calling. Zhang Yi answered the phone. An incredibly excited voice came from the other end. "Zhang Yi, it's really cold outside today. You stockpiled so much stuff last time. Was it because you knew the temperature was going to drop?" "Yeah, I just happened to hear a friend mention it, that's all. But I didn't think the temperature would drop this low." Zhang Yi stretched and walked into the living room. Indeed, the snow had fallen very thick today. "No wonder you stockpiled so much." "You're so mean, you know? You didn't even give me a heads up, and now I'm freezing to death." Hearing Fang Yuting's syrupy sweet voice, Zhang Yi literally felt his skin crawl. He couldn't stand her whining anymore and replied indifferently, "If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Fang Yuting frantically shouted, "Wait!" But it didn't change what Zhang Yi did. The only reply she got was a cold, merciless dial tone. Fang Yuting was furious and started biting her nails anxiously. "What the hell is wrong with that guy lately? How dare he hang up on me? No, I have to think of a way." After hanging up, Zhang Yi was truly speechless. He never expected Fang Yuting to be so shameless as to call and blame him. But right now, he didn't need to pay her much mind. So he got up, took a shower, prepared breakfast, and decided to check on society's reaction to what was happening outside. First things first, breakfast that day. Zhang Yi enjoyed a premium steak with red wine. This chilled-out vibe was completely out of sync with the apocalypse happening outside. As expected, the news reports were all about this mysterious cold front attacking the entire globe. It had caused temperatures in many places to drop by 70 degrees Celsius or more. The source of the cold front was still under investigation by the Meteorological Office, and the government also issued an announcement, advising citizens during these times not to go outside unless necessary, and not to believe false rumors and hoard goods, which would cause prices to skyrocket. Just as the news report ended, Zhang Yi received another message from Fang Yuting. This scheming girl truly knew no shame. When calling didn't work, she resorted to texting him accusatorially, even saying she wanted to borrow some food and would pay him back after the snow stopped. Too bad for her he wasn't a simp anymore. Zhang Yi opened his camera and took a picture of the premium breakfast he was enjoying. In this life, Fang Yuting couldn't even dream of getting any benefit from him. Being toyed with by him and then dying a miserable death, that would be her final value. Fang Yuting opened the new message from Zhang Yi, and her jaw dropped in shock. One look and she could tell the steak was prime beef, and next to it was a bottle of French wine that cost at least 20 to 30,000 yuan. Zhang Yi was living this luxuriously just by staying home. It really made her green with envy. Fang Yuting immediately replied to the message, "Ooh, I love it. I want to eat steak and drink wine too." "If you want to eat, go buy it at the supermarket." Zhang Yi's message really made Fang Yuting see red. Her fingers were already on the keyboard, typing out a 300-word essay cursing him for not being a real man. But in the end, she had to delete it. She thought to herself, calm down, don't get angry. I can't let one fish in the pond mess up my plans." While Fang Yuting was trying to think of a way to beg and plead, Zhang Yi had already tossed his phone aside. Next, he picked up his tablet, which was connected to the building's surveillance system. It seemed it was only the second day of the apocalypse. But the apartment complex was already in chaos. The people in the community who wanted to go out to stock up on food and warm clothes were being blocked by that wicked Mrs. Lamb. "Everyone, don't panic. This bad weather will be over in 2 or 3 days at most. Absolutely do not go outside to fight over supplies. Our neighborhood committee will help everyone figure out a way to survive this blizzard." This old hag is truly hopeless. The people in the community were in a total panic. With snow this heavy, there was no telling when it would stop. And the residents didn't have any food stored in their homes. They didn't have warm clothes either, but she was still fiercely preventing anyone from going out, even warning that if anyone tried, she would report them to the local authorities. This made everyone a bit hesitant, seeing such a dramatic scene unfold. Zhang Yi decided to leave his apartment to add a little more fuel to the fire. So, taking advantage of the chaos, he went downstairs. "Mrs. Lamb, do you have any idea how long this blizzard will last? What if it really does drag on? When that happens and everyone runs out of food, who is going to take responsibility?" The moment his voice rang out, all eyes turned to him. Everyone felt the injustice of the situation. Zhang Heng spoke up angrily. "That's right! You won't let us stock up on things. So when the time comes and we're short on food and water, who's to blame?" Wu Jing, standing nearby, questioned, "Are you going to give us food then?" Xuanha gave a strained laugh and quickly tried to reassure everyone. "Don't worry about this. The neighborhood committee will take responsibility. There won't be a shortage of supplies and the blizzard will be over very soon." Inwardly, she was cursing. This damn brat brazenly contradicting me in front of so many people? Isn't he just trying to humiliate me? Pointing a finger at Zhang Yi, Xuanha loudly warned, "And you! Stop inciting the crowd right now. What you're doing is a violation of the law and discipline." Hearing her say that, he waved his hand dismissively. "Geez, that's a heavy accusation. I don't think I can carry that weight." Zhang Yi turned to leave. As he went, he added, "Don't worry, it's so cold outside, I wouldn't go out even if you asked me to. It's up to you all." Looking at his retreating back, a sinister plot formed in Xuanha's mind. This Zhang Yi truly doesn't know his place. When I get back, I have to find an excuse to have him locked up for a few days. A few days later, the blizzard outside the window grew even stronger. Zhang Yi was in his room, happily sitting on a chair playing a video game. He tore open a bag of snacks with both hands, making a crinkling sound. How satisfying in this cold winter. Enjoying delicious food while entertaining himself, Zhang Yi couldn't help but reflect. Not having to think about work or the complexities of human relationships, this life is so much more refreshing than before. Suddenly, the phone next to him vibrated. He wondered in surprise, who would be sending a message at a time like this? It turned out to be Xuanha, posting in the community homeowners group. "Zhang Yi, the snow has completely covered the roads now. In a bit, bring some tools outside and help clear the snow." He looked at the message and immediately understood. Calling me out by name on purpose, huh? Revenge certainly came quickly. Zhang Yi let out a smirk, then made a calculation. The first floor is basically completely buried by now. This snowstorm will last for at least 3 months. Shoveling it would be slower than the snow falling. Although she was indoors, Xuanha was also shivering as she sat in front of a heater. A reply from Zhang Yi appeared in the group chat. "It's so cold. Going out there would freeze a person solid. Even if we shovel, we should wait until the snow stops. The others in the group immediately agreed. That's right. It's negative 70 degrees Celsius outside. We'd definitely freeze to death. We don't have any proper cold weather gear. How are we supposed to go out? She gritted her teeth in anger as she looked at her phone screen. A moment ago, nobody said a word. Now this kid says one thing and suddenly they're all kicking up a fuss. Xuanha suppressed her emotions and sent another message. What kind of attitude is that from you people? Shoveling snow isn't for my benefit. You're all strong young people. When disaster strikes, you don't want to take the initiative to serve the people? You just want to hide? Then she threatened him. Zhang Yi is required to go out and clear the snow. This is a time of crisis, and we must stand united. Anyone who objects is opposing the leadership, and after the blizzard ends, they will be dealt with by the organization. He read the message and scoffed, using the little power of the neighborhood committee to boss people around. The rest of them are just waiting for me to offend her while they all hide away. A cunning look appeared on Zhang Yi's face. Today, I'm going to rip away all pretenses with you for good. He decisively sent 2 more messages into the group chat. For the sake of everyone, shouldn't the neighborhood committee take the lead in clearing the snow? Why are you only calling on us? Is it because you think we're easy to bully? Why don't you call those gangsters and rich kids? The others immediately agreed. Zhang Yi's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, always picking on us honest folks. Why don't you go find that Chen Zhenghao and Xu Hao? Mentioning those 2 names, everyone knew who they were. Chen Zhenghao on the 6th floor was a gangster with hundreds of followers. The guy on the 8th floor was a rich kid named Xu Hao, whose family had connections with high-level figures. Zhang Fan took a bite of his snack, his eyes gleaming as he looked at the phone screen. If you're so capable, Auntie Lamb, then go ahead and call Chen Zhenghao and Xu Hao down to clear the snow. A contemplative look crossed his eyes as Zhang Yi recalled something from his past life. The one who broke down my door was Chen Zhenghao. Xu Hao was the one who pulled a knife on me, and my neighbors, apart from a few. The rest of them divided the 8 portions of soup among themselves after I died. He poured himself a glass of liquor, carefully considering. Neither of those 2 are any good. If I'm going to make all of you miserable, I might as well go all the way. At that moment, Xuanha gripped her phone tightly, absolutely furious. That damn Zhang Yi! Calling them out by their full names. He's clearly trying to make me lose face. She frowned, staring intently at the message on the screen. Then he told himself, if I don't do this, who will respect me in the future? Scene change. He's lying on the sofa, surrounded by empty beer bottles. Tran Chin Hao glances at his phone and then curses, Damn it! In this hellishly cold weather, what bored idiot is causing trouble? It was a message from Xuanha in the neighborhood group chat. Clearing the snow in our complex will depend on everyone. We hope residents who have time can bring tools and come down to help clear the snow. Tran Chin Hao, Hua Hao. When he saw his name tagged, he exclaimed in surprise, Huh? Tran Chin Hao angrily yelled into the phone, The snow outside is that heavy, and you want us to shovel? Shovel my ass. If you're crazy, go to a mental hospital. Don't go mad here and bother me. I'll beat you to death. Startled by his threatening roar, Xuanha had to hold the phone away from her ear, not daring to utter another word. At the same time, Hua Hao was also recording a voice chat. What's you people shoveling snow got to do with me? I don't even need to go to work. Staying home every day is fine with me. After finishing the recording, he casually put an arm around Trin Tiu, who was happily beside him. That crazy bitch acts high and mighty every day using the Property Owners Association, thinking she's the real boss. How ridiculous. With a beautiful woman in his arms, Hua Hao arrogantly thought, Everything I have today is thanks to the hard work of my parents and my family. How could I be the same as a bunch of poor, miserable devils like you? He held up his phone, recording a short, intimate video with Trin Tiu while taunting, If you want to shovel snow, hurry up. You people still have to go out and earn money to eat. Only after you've cleared the snow can I go out and have my fun. Hua Hao's message was immediately sent to the group chat. When Xuanha saw it, she felt like she was on fire, unable to control herself and shouting, It's all Trongditch's fault! If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have offended them. In the kitchen, Trongditch was busy preparing a meal. Just as he finished frying some meat, the phone next to him rang. An angry voice came through. Trongditch, are you trying to make things difficult for me, huh? No one is going to shovel the snow. Are you satisfied now? Are we all just going to be trapped in here like this? Carrying the plate of fried meat to the living room, Trongditch sat down on the sofa and replied without hesitation,
Stop playing dumb. You're a coward who preys on the weak. You get cursed out and don't even dare to fart back. Are you trying to find a sense of self-worth with me? His face turned grim, and he then warned softly, "Let me tell you, I'm not someone who's easily bullied. If you keep barking like a mad dog, you'd better watch your life." After hearing this, Xuanha was terrified and slumped down, hissing through her teeth, "Damn it, you psycho! Just you wait for me! You won't have a good end!" Trongditch was still enjoying the meal he had just made. Suddenly, there was a loud banging on the door from outside, accompanied by curses. "Trongditch, you little brat, get the hell out here for me!" Tran Chin Hao threatened. "Weren't you running your mouth? Using me to talk big in the group chat? Let's see how I'm going to deal with you now." Outside, the banging on the door continued relentlessly. Trongditch quietly walked towards the shoe cabinet as if to get something. Tran Chin Hao's furious voice rang out. "I'm going to break down this door right now and drag you out here. Just you wait for me." He looked through the peephole on the door. A crossbow had appeared in his hands. The scene was now extremely tense. The two were confronting each other, separated only by a door. Trongditch raised the crossbow, aiming straight at the man's position. It's not certain who will conquer whom. Trongditch just aimed, not in a hurry to shoot. He calculated in his mind, there's no need to send this one to his grave just yet. He aimed the arrow at Tran Chin Hao's leg. Letting you die so easily wouldn't be any fun at all, would it? Outside, Tran Chin Hao was still unaware. Danger was approaching, yet he was still shouting, "Hiding in there like a coward in its shell, not coming out? Once I get in, you're dead for sure!" In an instant, a powerful arrow tore through the air, heading forward. It immediately and precisely embedded itself deep into Tran Chin Hao's ankle. He fell to the ground, clutching the wound and screaming in agony. His whole body trembled uncontrollably. Looking through the peephole, Trongditch saw Tran Chin Hao rolling on the ground. He whispered in admiration, "Very effective." It went straight through his foot. He shouldered the crossbow, thinking, the temperature is below -70°C, with a puncture wound in his leg. That spot is definitely crippled for good now. If not treated in time and with the lack of medicine, getting an infection is inevitable. At this point, with no other choice, Tran Chin Hao hastily dragged himself away step by step. Leaving the front of the door, Trongditch left long streaks of blood in the hallway. Thinking of the man's pained face from the wound, he predicted, "Next you'll die a miserable death in pain and cold." Tran Chin Hao barely made it to the elevator to escape. He leaned against the handrail, his face filled with terror. "That kid, just now, he really wanted to kill me." The elevator's control panel showed it had arrived at the selected floor. Tran Chin Hao limped out and hurriedly made a phone call. "I have to find someone to treat this quickly. It's so cold the wound is about to freeze over. At this rate, my leg will be useless in less than half an hour. Sorry, the number you have dialed is not reachable. Please try again later." He stood in front of his apartment door. Looking at the phone in his hand, he cried out helplessly, "Am I seeing a ghost? In this weather?" Even an ambulance couldn't drive through here. Tran Chin Hao grit his teeth through the pain and rummaged through his home for first aid supplies. "There's no time. I have to perform surgery to save this leg first." Sitting on a chair, he used a pair of scissors, wanting to cut off the tail end of the arrow first. Seeing that the blood from the wound had stopped flowing, Tran Chin Hao grabbed a pair of pliers and, while breaking off the fletching, telling himself to just freeze up so he wouldn't need any anesthetic. The sound of tearing flesh rang out, and red blood immediately spurted out right after. The arrow from his leg was thrown forcefully onto the floor. Tran Chin Hao collapsed onto a chair, sweating buckets despite the winter cold. Grabbing his phone, he hissed through gritted teeth, "Trongditch, I swear I'm going to kill you." He sent a furious message to the group chat. "Trongditch, you just wait. If I don't deal with you, I'll write my name backward." Trongditch immediately replied, "Who the hell do you think you are to mess with me? I'll cripple your other leg too." Xuanha and the other residents in the group stared at the message, completely shocked. Trongditch actually dared to confront Tran Chin Hao. It looked like one of his legs was injured. Hao was so angry, he gritted his teeth and quickly made a call. The person on the other end picked up. "Boss, what are your orders?" Tran Chin Hao ordered, "Get your asses over to this Naklock complex for me. Anyone who knows how to hurt someone, get over here now." With a crazed look on his face, he snarled, "I have to eliminate that son of a bitch today." The next morning, snow was still falling, blanketing the Naklock complex. Dang Lun had gathered all the men in the room. "Let's head over there. That unlucky bastard who dared to touch you must have a death wish." Before he could finish, Chin Hao cut him off. Enough with the chatter. Trungdik is about to cripple my damn leg. That punk is in room 2401. Be careful not to let him get the drop on you. Break down the door and finish him off. Dang Luan led his brothers aggressively to Trungdik's door and roared, "Open up! You dared to shoot our brother Hao? You're dead today! This day next year will be your death anniversary! Get out here and surrender!" He took a large knife and banged it furiously against the object in front of him. The blizzard has frozen the door shut. It took a lot of effort for me and the boys to get here. It's useless to call for help now. As he was hacking away, the blade flew off the handle and towards Ho Fi, making him tremble. The whole group, seeing it had no effect, grew confused and flustered. "This door, it's solid metal. And it's this heavy? How are we supposed to break it down?" What kind of enemies is he expecting? "This door is thicker than a fortress wall." At that moment, the image of the noisy group outside was being recorded and displayed on a screen inside. Trungdik watched them for a while, then sighed. "Tisk, guess I'll have to do it again." He hadn't taunted them yet. Through the surveillance monitor, he said, "Can't you guys use a little more muscle? Didn't you eat breakfast?" This enraged Dang Lun, who roared, "What's so tough about being a coward hiding in your shell? If you've got guts, then get the hell out here." Hearing this, Trungdik grabbed a hose and connected it to the faucet on his sink. He turned on the water, preparing for a plan. "Such fiery tempers. Let me help you guys cool down, free of charge." Trungdik slowly pushed one end of the hose through an opening. Seeing this, Tranvu sneered, "Trying the same trick twice? In your dreams!" Before he finished his sentence, he was blasted with water. The people behind him couldn't avoid it either, shivering and screaming, "It's so cold, I'm freezing to death!" Stop spraying, stop!" The whole group was scattered by the water. Some lay on the ground shivering, while others scrambled to get up and run away. Wait for me. My pants are frozen solid, I can't walk anymore." Inside his cozy room, Trungdik watched with satisfaction and whistled. "I was originally going to use the crossbow to teach you guys a lesson, but dousing you with lots of water is safer. And the effect isn't half bad, is it?" A while later, Chin Hao was aggressively questioning his men. "Where is that little brat? Have you caught him yet?" Getting no answer, Chin Hao furiously threw a prosthetic leg at the group in front of him. "Someone explain to me what the hell is going on." Dang Lun, wrapped in a blanket, sniffled and replied, "Trungdik is too despicable. We have no idea how thick his front door is. We kept hitting it and only chipped some paint. Then he doused us with cold water. We just couldn't take it." After hearing his report, Chin Hao fell into deep thought. "When I was breaking that brat's turtle shell of a door, it really was abnormally thick." He cracked his knuckles, then gritted his teeth and ordered, "Doesn't matter. I don't believe it. He can't hide in his house forever without coming out. You guys stay nearby. The moment he comes out, jump him for me." Of course, Dang Lun immediately agreed. "Boss is right. We'll wait for him to stick his head out, then we'll deal with him." Ho Fi was so cold he could only sneeze in support. Meanwhile, right at the gate of the apartment complex, some residents had given up on digging a path through the snow. "Uncle View, we've been clearing for half a day and still haven't reached the ground. Just the few of us can't do it, even if we cleared all the snow in the complex. We still can't dig our way to the supermarket." Ki Kwang wiped the sweat from his forehead, thought for a moment, then sighed. "You're right. With the snow falling this fast, it's useless without a snowplow. Everyone, let's go home. Don't just stand here in the cold." At the same time, Trungdik was standing quietly on his balcony, watching the whole scene. "They've gone back?" He lingered a bit longer to assess the situation, then turned away. Trungdik returned to his room, thinking to himself with a sigh, "Looks like they've finally realized that human strength is no match for a natural disaster like this." He sat on the couch watching the news. They announced it was time for the final, all-out blizzard offensive. The great nation of May had suffered heavy casualties due to poor preparation. "We ask everyone to remain calm and trust the government's guidance." After watching for a bit, Zhang Yi got bored. He yawned and yawned, silently assessing the scale and duration of this blizzard. It was impossible to estimate using common sense. The outside world was being far too optimistic. Just then, Zhang Yi was sitting in his room, reading messages in the Chunhei residential community's group chat. Many reassuring messages had been sent, telling everyone not to worry, that they were equipped to handle the blizzard. "Anyone who needs supplies will be assisted. There's no need to hoard things. Everything will be okay." Suddenly, a message from Wu Qing arrived. "Zhang Yi, are you okay?" He sneered inwardly. "A message asking if I'm concerned, huh? More likely she's just checking to see if I'm still alive." But he still replied curtly, I'm fine. Seeing this, she immediately replied, that's good then. Wu Xing messaged again, we're out of food at my place. I remember you bought quite a bit of stuff. Could you give me some? I'll treat you to a meal later, okay? He coldly read her sweet-talking words. Showing your true colors this quickly, are we? Zhang Yi decided to take a photo on his phone for her, muttering to himself, Didn't you and Yai Nin buy plenty of things at the supermarket the other day? It's only been 2 days, and you're already begging me for handouts? He sent a picture of an irresistible plate of shrimp with a taunting message, You wanted to treat me to a meal? Well, I'm already eating. Seeing this, Wu Qing gritted her teeth in anger. That Zhang Yi. I was originally going to keep him around as a backup plan, but now he's at the very, very bottom of the list. Yai Nin, sitting beside her, chimed in, That's right. He should really take a good look at himself. A guy like that deserves to be single forever. However, Yai Nin quickly turned and messaged Zhang Yi, trying to reason with him. Why are you being so stupid? Now Wu Qing is upset. Do you have any idea how serious this is? Reading these lines only filled him with more contempt. I'm not falling for this little act of yours. He quickly replied, One of you tries to trick me, the other tries to threaten me. What a performance. Seeing this, she immediately retorted, Nonsense. The blizzard will only last a few more days. If you just starve for 2 meals, you'll have Wu Qing in the palm of your hand by then. Wouldn't that be a huge win for you? When Zhang Yi didn't reply, Yai Nin threatened further, You're not even willing to part with a little food like that. I can see you're not really sincere about our Wu Qing at all. He read their messages leisurely, assessing them. The pure white lotus paired with the scheming green tea. What a skilled combination. Zhang Yi indifferently replied with a single word, K, along with a smiley face emoji. This directly infuriated Yai Nin. She fumed, After all that talking, he still has that attitude. What's he trying to say? She turned and started complaining to her best friend, Wu Qing. That Zhang Yi. Honestly, I was just trying to be nice. And borrow a little food from him for you, and he just brushed me off. But Wu Qing, blinking as if her memory had been wiped clean, asked in return, Zhang Yi? Who's that? Do I know him? From now on, don't mention that name in front of me again. Yai Nin moved closer to her, nudging her arm and whispering, So what if Zhang Yi is a lost cause? Don't you still have other admirers? We can't go outside right now, so let's just make him help us out for a bit. Wu Qing's mood changed in a flash. She put on a sweet, whiny voice and called her next victim. Hello? Is this Zhou Peng? Actually, I have a little favor to ask you. A short while later, Zhou Peng arrived at their door carrying a bag of supplies. He greeted Wu Qing cheerfully. I brought everything for you. It's just some discounted warehouse stuff, but I made sure to grab the best and most expensive things for you. She blushed shyly and praised him. Thank you, Zhou Peng. You're so kind. This made him ecstatic, and he said loudly, It's nothing. For you, I'd do anything. Yai Nin took the bag from his hands and quickly slammed the door shut. Wu Qing glanced towards the door, the cheerful smile on her face having already vanished. Tisk, with a bear-like body like his, he still dreams of being with me? Maybe in his next life. 3 days passed in a flash. The snow was still blanketing everything. Zhang Yi held a chicken drumstick in one hand. In the other, he held his phone, calculating the time. It's almost time. The show's about to begin. With a soft pop, the entire apartment building was plunged into darkness. Residents immediately began to clamor, Whoa! Why did the power go out? Hey, what's going on? After the power cut, the hallway was crowded with people, all looking at each other in confusion. Finally, Liu Yi spoke up. Is the power out in your apartments too? Li Mei, clutching a constantly crying Tang Bao in her arms, timidly answered, No, and the water supply has stopped too. There isn't even hot water to make formula for the baby. Liu Yi's husband, who had appeared by her side at some point, wiped his glasses and sighed. It's this cold, and now we can't use the heat. There's no way to use a space heater either. What are we supposed to do now? Lamai continued to soothe her daughter. There, sweetie, don't cry. Outside in the hallway, the residents' panicked whispers echoed endlessly. It was -30 degrees, the air conditioning was broken, they were out of food and they couldn't get to the supermarket. And yet no one was stepping up to handle this. How much longer was this going to last? Zhang Yi had just placed a plate of hot chicken on the table. Picking his teeth, he said sarcastically, You can't count on the government now. He walked to a corner of the house and turned on a generator. He had prepared in advance. Planning ahead, is the only way to live. A room with a warm yellow light suddenly appeared in the middle of the dark apartment complex, which was submerged in a snowstorm. At the same time, Xuanha was holding her grandson in her arms, wrapped tightly in a blanket. How could this be? Weren't things fine just a few days ago? Why? Suddenly, a flood of messages from residents bombarded the neighborhood committee's group chat. They say this is a once-in-a-thousand-year snowstorm, no different from the apocalypse. Many cities have already fallen. They can't save everyone. If you want to live, you have to stock up on food and heating supplies immediately. After reading those messages, Xuanha had her own ideas. That's right, I need supplies. I have to get them now while those people still don't know. Little Hu, feeling the cold, looked up with his innocent, uneasy eyes and asked, Grandma, why is it so cold outside? When are Mom and Dad coming home? She quickly comforted him to put him at ease. Little Hu, don't worry. Mom and Dad will be back after this snowstorm passes. Seeing her little grandson suffering from the cold, Xuanha's heart ached, and her resolve hardened. I must protect us. We have to survive. Amidst the panic, everyone suddenly received a notification from Xuanha. Everyone, this disaster is only temporary. It's too cold outside. The power and water outages are already being fixed by repair crews. She didn't stop there, but also issued a threat. The government has put the neighborhood committee in charge. If anyone fails to cooperate and causes problems, they will be arrested and investigated by the police. Xu Hao didn't even bother reading the whole thing and tossed his phone aside. Is the situation outside really that serious? What the hell is going on? These threats had no effect on Xu Hao. He sneered scornfully. Addicted to borrowing the tiger's might, are we? What a buzzkill. Is that damn old hag trying to use a chicken feather as an arrow? It's useless. She's not solving anything, just barking orders. His lackeys sat huddled in a corner, wrapped in blankets and shivering. How? Brother How? We can't go outside and we're out of drugs. How much longer do we have to hold out? These words directly angered Xu Hao, and he roared, Isn't it because you useless bastards couldn't even beat that scumbag Zhang Yi and got your asses handed to you instead? Meanwhile, while everyone was struggling against the snowstorm, Zhang Yi was leisurely finishing a video game. Suddenly, his phone vibrated. The screen showed a new message. Huh? It was a message from Xuanha in the apartment's group chat, meant to reassure everyone and announce a new plan. Due to the severe impact of the snowstorm, in order for everyone to get through this together starting today, the neighborhood committee will collect supplies from each household and then distribute them. He stared at the last message and immediately understood the problem. It was the same trick as in his past life. Suddenly, Zhang Yi noticed a private message from her. He couldn't help but be surprised. When no one fell for it, she decided to target me directly? Out of curiosity, he opened it to read. He saw that Xuanha had sent several messages. Little Zhang, you work at the warehouse, so you must have a lot of things at home. I remember you even bought 3 cartloads of stuff. Now is your time to shine. Don't worry. Everyone will definitely pay you back. Zhang Yi read these hypocritical words and couldn't help but remember the unpleasant memories from his past life. She led the charge, yelling for everyone to hand over their supplies. I was kind enough to give her some and ended up letting a wolf into my house. He pretended to be stupid and sent a voice message to Xuanha. His tone was cheerful. That's great news, Auntie Xuan. If you manage to collect supplies, remember to share some with me. He already had his own plan for revenge. In my past life, I was sold out and left for dead, and you had a hand in it. Xuanha definitely didn't believe Zhang Yi's naive act. She muttered angrily, What? Is this kid trying to pull a fast one on me? You people who work at the warehouse always get discounts. You must have a huge stash at home. But then she thought of her little grandson. Stroking his head, she told herself, I have to stay calm. I can't give up. If I can just bait Zhang Yi, my grandson and I can get some supplies. We could at least hold out for a week. So Xuanha suppressed her anger and continued to persuade and urge Zhang Yi. Little Zhang, you're the warehouse manager for a big supermarket. How could your house be short on food? This is an order from the organization. You must obey. Listen to me. He continued to feign ignorance, picking his teeth as he spoke. I'm really not lying, Auntie. There's nothing left to eat. Even a rich man's house has no spare grain this year. How about you give me a few packs of noodles first, to lead by example? Xuanha could no longer maintain her fake facade. She lost her temper and yelled into the phone, Zhang Yi! I tried to be nice to you, but you wouldn't listen. I'm representing the organization now. If you refuse to hand over your supplies, I will make sure you're dealt with later. Under this threat, he remained unfazed and just let out a pfft. Zhang Yi scoffed and challenged her. Representing the organization, you're just a block leader in the neighborhood committee. Forget being a public official, you don't even have a real career. Xuanha's expression became extremely ugly. Seeing this, he added another jab. It's fine to delude yourself on a normal day. So you really see yourself as a leader, huh? If you've got the guts, do whatever you want to me. I'll be waiting at home. Beep! She furiously hung up and tossed the phone onto the couch. That damn brat. Is there really no way to deal with him? For better or worse, I'm the leader of the Xuanha sub-district. A new plan popped into her head, but she quickly dismissed it. Getting the residents to pressure him together? No, that won't work. If everyone follows his lead and refuses to hand over supplies, I'll be in big trouble. The most urgent task now is to trick as many people as possible. In the blink of an eye, evening fell, and the snow grew even thicker. Trung-dik sat cozily inside his home. While eating noodles and watching his surveillance cameras, he saw Xuanha collecting supplies. Some people really do just hand over their valuables like they're nothing. Tisk tisk, holding a bowl of hot noodles in his hand. He thought for a long moment about the supplies in his house. A normal person could last at least 3 to 5 days on that, but the low temperatures will make supplies run out fast. Still, they gave them to her willingly. It has nothing to do with me. Trung-dik gazed pensively out the window. The blizzard hadn't stopped. In fact, it seemed to be getting worse. The world outside had already descended into chaos. You need supplies to survive. Otherwise, you just wait for death. A few days later, in the residential group chat, someone called out Xuanha directly. Hey, Auntie Xuanha. You said that after collecting the supplies, you'd distribute them to everyone. My family has been out of food for 2 days. Can you give us some? Phone notifications kept buzzing, but Xuanha was busy feeding her grandson and couldn't care less. A bunch of idiots. All this stuff is mine now. She glanced at the crates of supplies piled up in her house and laughed with glee. This old lady worked her butt off to trick you out of these supplies. Why would I ever give them back to you people? Just then, Tu-ho pointed to the phone. Grandma, your phone. She scoffed internally as she saw it ringing nonstop. Those fools are only starting to figure it out now. But when she picked up the phone and saw the number on the screen, Xuanha couldn't help but panic. Jinhao, why is he calling me? She broke out in a cold sweat. The moment she answered, the voice on the other end spoke. Hello, Auntie Xuanha. You're quite the operator, aren't you? You managed to get everyone's supplies into your hands. That one sentence was enough to jolt Xuanha. She coughed dryly to hide her panic. Ahem. As the neighborhood block supervisor, it's my job to manage everyone's supplies. On the other end, Jinhao didn't let her finish, cutting her off directly. Ha, well that's just perfect. My house is running very low on supplies right now. Bring them over to me. Unwilling to hand them over, she quickly made an excuse. I still need to sort through them. Besides, a few people haven't turned theirs in yet, so I can't distribute them for now. Hearing this, the person on the other end dropped all pretense of politeness. You rotten old hag. Have you no shame? You've taken it all for yourself, haven't you? Jinhao was tired of talking to her, so he gave her a final choice. Let me be clear. Just obediently hand over all that stuff to me and we're good. If not... He knew it was just Xuanha and her grandson at home, so he threatened her directly. Then I, along with the 10-odd people in my house, will come and take it ourselves. The door suddenly started rattling before bursting open. Xuanha, now frantic, tried to stop them. Don't come in! This is breaking and entering! Jinhao led his lackeys inside and slapped her squarely across the face. Ch! Who told you to scam your neighbors? I'm just delivering some righteous justice. Meanwhile, Trung-dik was casually eating a sausage, enjoying the show. Oh, nice. They've started tearing each other apart. Watching them fight over every little thing on the screen, a new idea suddenly sparked in his mind. How about I broadcast this little movie to the homeowners group chat so everyone can see? No sooner said than done. Trung-dik gleefully worked on his computer. Their reactions are going to be priceless. Back at the house after slapping Xuanha, Jinhao immediately ordered all his men, search the place, take all the food and drinks in this house, every last bit. This is stuff our neighbors struggled to save up. We can't let this old hag profit. Hearing this,
She scrambled up in fear, grabbed his leg, and begged, "You can't take everything. Some of that is stuff my family saved up. If you take it all, how will my grandson and I survive?" Chin Hao looked down at her with contempt and snarled, "Like I give a damn? Let go!" Zhuanha shamelessly clung to his pant leg, pleading, "Please, leave us something to survive on. I'm begging you." He had run out of patience with her. He kicked her away. "Get the hell off me!" Tiu Ho silently stared at the spot on the floor where his grandmother had been knocked down. He desperately grabbed a sharp object and rushed out screaming, "You thugs, all of you, get out!" He stabbed it directly into Ho Fi's butt, making him yelp. The man spun around angrily, looking at the little boy who barely came up to his waist. His voice trembling with pain, he growled, "You looking to die, kid?" Ho Fi kicked Tiu Ho with tremendous force, sending him flying like a ball. He only managed to let out a single cry. "I'll grant your wish, then." A child's strength is no match for an adult's. He landed on a chair and lay completely still. Seeing this, one of the henchmen praised him. "Ha ha ha! Old Five, when did your kicks get so good? You sent that little rabbit flying. Impressive, impressive!" Ho Fi tossed aside the object he'd been stabbed with and basked in his friend's praise. "Pretty cool, right? You guys should have filmed that." Zhuanha tremblingly crawled over to her grandson. She didn't dare touch his wounds. She could only call out his name. "Tiu Ho, my grandson." Ching Hao saw this. He felt no pity, only contempt. He spat. "Serves you right. One old, one young, both of you are worthless." He then led his gang to finish looting everything. He left, completely ignoring the grandmother and grandson. "This is the price you pay for scamming your neighbors. I was just delivering justice from above." When the surveillance footage was uploaded to the group chat, everyone gloated over Zhuanha's fate. "Ha ha ha ha! The scammer got what she deserved. Our hero is so badass. For people like her, you have to be cruel." Zhang Yi read the messages flooding in from the group of neighbors. He sighed. They still didn't fully grasp the root of the problem. The homeowners weren't just mocking Sun He, but were even praising those thugs. "If it weren't for our hero, we'd have no way to deal with a shameless woman like her. Hero, just be careful. Just be... She'll report you to the police." A dangerous glint flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes as he enunciated each word. Today, he can break into Uncle Lin's house and steal his things. Sooner or later, he'll be breaking into all of your houses. But he didn't want to waste his breath on these idiots, so he just shrugged. "Too bad it has nothing to do with me." Suddenly, his phone buzzed. A new message appeared in the homeowners' group chat. A flicker of surprise showed in Zhang Yi's eyes when he read the content of Sun He's message. "Does anyone have any medicine? My nephew was injured by Chen Zhenghao. Dr. Chu is operating on him and urgently needs medicine." Of course, he recognized the doctor's name. He was just a little surprised by her decision to save someone. Chu Keier. She wants to operate on Lin Xiaohu? In the group chat, Keier urgently announced the situation. "I've temporarily treated Lin Xiaohu's wounds, but it won't hold for long. If anyone has medicine, please come find me." According to Zhang Yi's memories, she was a doctor who had saved many people in his past life. You could call her a good person. As soon as she saw the doctor's words, Sun He immediately texted, "My Xiaohu needs medicine. I'm on my knees begging everyone for help." Zheng Hao immediately sneered. "On your knees for us? So what?" And the others chimed in with their disapproval. Seeing this, Zhang Yi couldn't help but shake his head. She's usually so aloof, yet today she's speaking out specifically to help Lin Xiaohu. Truly the heart of a healer. But even he had to wonder, what's the point of saving that kid? The blizzard continued to rage, and the world outside was paralyzed. The boy won't last long anyway. At the same time, Lemin looked at the weather outside, riddled with anxiety. "What are we going to do? The snow is already high enough to bury the first floor." Meanwhile, inside his house, Tai Jiao held his head in terror. The news said this is a blizzard that only happens once in 10,000 years. What's going to happen in the end? 1 week into the blizzard, the entire world was buried in snow. In some northern cities, the temperature even plummeted to over -100 degrees. The snowfall, after many days, hadn't let up, but was only getting heavier. This caused many cities to be completely buried, trapping residents who hadn't evacuated in time. In the neighborhood group chat, Sun He tried to use her authority to announce, "Everyone, hand over your supplies now! Otherwise, you'll be punished for violating the rules. I can pay a high price." Someone immediately jumped in.
I'll sell a pack for 1,000 yuan. But Xu Hao immediately offered more. I'll pay 2,000 yuan. I'll buy it all. While they were all in a frenzy, Zhang Yi was simply sitting back and watching the drama unfold. It's about to get more interesting. When Lemin read Xu Hao's message, he was overjoyed. 2,000 RMB for a pack of noodles? Am I seeing things? On the other side, Honger also chimed in. You guys, stop raising the prices of supplies like this. It's starting to scare me. This prompted Zhang Yu to jump in. Stop messing around. Do you really think this is the apocalypse? Xu Yin, relaxing on her bed, added, It's just a little heavy snow. It's not like we're surrounded by zombies. Why are you all making such a fuss? Reading her comparison, Zhang Yi silently made his own judgment. A zombie siege, that so-called extreme scenario, is child's play compared to this frozen apocalypse. With everyone sticking their noses in, Xu Hao got straight to the point. Don't be so nosy. I have money. If you agree to sell, message me privately, otherwise buzz off. It might have seemed like a kind offer, but in reality, Xu Hao had already calculated that with the situation so dire, he had to use his money while it was still worth something to quickly get the supplies from those poor saps, from those poor bastards. Next, Jie Limei's desperation came through in her message. How can you be like this? Being able to buy food right now is a matter of life and death for us. But Xu Hao shot back, I'm not stealing from you. If other people are willing to sell, what right do you have to stop them? In this desperate situation, Jie Limei had no choice but to beg. Please, everyone, help us. My daughter is only 9 months old. I have nothing to eat, so I can't produce milk for her. But Zhang Yi saw right through her ploy. Her situation was pitiful, yes, but once someone helped her, she would latch on and never let go. Still, something felt off. He was lost in thought for a moment. In his past life, she and her daughter managed to survive for a very long time. Jie Limei was definitely not as helpless as she seemed. 10 days passed in a flash. Zhang Yi was currently in his home gym when his phone rang, catching his attention. As soon as he saw who the caller was, a grin spread across Zhang Yi's face. Counting the days. Most families must have run out of food by now, so these two little schemers couldn't hold out any longer, huh? So, when he answered the call, he purposely aimed the camera at the plate of food on his table. What's with the video call? You two are looking awfully thin. Bingo. Just as he'd predicted, Yu Ting and I Ning were starving. How does he still have so much food? Desperate, the two decided to suck up to Zhang Yi. How do you still have so much food? It must be so warm at your place. You're even wiping away sweat. Seizing the chance to tease them, Zhang Yi replied, It's just some junk food. If you're sad, eat it. If not, just leave it there. Not only that, he boasted even more. I have in-wall heating. This thing works great. It's so hot inside it's almost uncomfortable. Finally, Wu Qing swallowed her pride and whined into the phone. Big brother Zhang Yi, you're so amazing, being so well prepared. I admire you so much. Can I come over to your place and see? All Wu Qing could do now was flatter him. It's been so long since we last saw each other. I've missed you so much. She still held a naive thought in her heart. Give him a little sweet talk, and she'd secure a long-term meal ticket. Hearing Wu Qing's words, Zhang Yi, despite his disgust, tried to beat around the bush. The weather is so cold. Maybe you should just stay home and rest. In reality, he was sneering inwardly. How revolting. I must have been out of my mind to have pursued her before. In the next second, Zhang Yi's expression suddenly changed. Although he didn't really know how cold it was outside, he used a provocative tone. But judging by how you guys look, the temperature must be really low. He had indeed succeeded in provoking Wu Qing. Zhang Yi, don't you go too far. We're cold and hungry, and if you're not going to help, that's fine. But you're still saying such mocking words? Not only did he remain silent, but he also blatantly exposed her. Oh? Are you done pretending? When there's something to gain, you come knocking. I don't see you sucking up to anyone else. Don't take me for a fool. Hitting a nerve, Wu Qing screamed, Zhang Yi, shut your mouth! Having achieved his goal, Zhang Yi added fuel to the fire. What's wrong with telling the truth? Why are you so worked up? We're not close. Why should I have to help you? Wu Qing was driven mad with anger. You damn bastard! While she was screaming, Zhang Yi bluntly hung up on her. Wu Qing was venting her anger by slamming her phone. You bastard! Who the hell do you think you are, daring to scold me? Having gained nothing, Ai Ning started casting blame. Well, isn't it because you couldn't lock him down in the first place? If you had, we could be enjoying everything in Zhang Yi's house right now. Zhang Yi's house. Then she pointed at Zhang Yi's photo on the screen, continuing her taunts. Now he's so much better than any rich kid, acting all high and mighty. So what if you've been exposed, acting like you're so special? In a fit of rage, Wu Qing lunged forward and punched Lin Aining. You bitch! And just like that, the two of them were rolling around on the bed fighting. In stark contrast to that scene, Zhang Yi was leisurely browsing information. Tianhai City's media was broadcasting an announcement. To meet electricity demands, power will be supplied at 1:10 p.m. and 4 p.m. This can only power small wattage devices. The news anchor emphasized, currently the power plants are temporarily shut down. We hope everyone will consciously conserve electricity to avoid widespread blackouts. After hearing this, Zhang Yi assessed that the disaster was so severe that even the government couldn't hide it anymore. As usual, he checked the group chat messages, and they were all discussing the news report. Seeing that some people were still trying to make money left Zhang Yi speechless. They clearly knew the world was facing an apocalypse, yet they still wanted to trade supplies for cash. Outside, the blizzard showed no signs of letting up. Life went on. Even with hope lost, no one wanted to die. Even if it was a temporary existence, they had to grit their teeth and live on. At that moment, in Xuanha's home, the old woman was desperately calling her grandson's name. Xiaohu, Xiaohu, don't sleep. If you're gone, what will I tell your parents? Meanwhile, Zheng Hao was relaxing while getting treatment. Dr. Zhu is not only beautiful but also kind-hearted. It's thanks to you that I get to keep this leg. Kaya ignored the compliment and got straight to the point. After I'm done, remember to give me the supplies as we agreed. Elsewhere, Xu Hao was seizing the opportunity. Like this, I can hold on for a while longer. Because of their earlier argument, Ai Ning sat far from her ally. What are you going to do now? Besides Zhang Yi, who else can we count on? Wu Qing was hatching a plan. If this doesn't work, we'll just take out Zhang Yi and seize his house. She was now on the phone with Zhou Peng. The person on the other end answered bluntly, just the two of us isn't enough. We can't let too many people know about this. As soon as Zhou Peng arrived, Wu Qing began to complain, adding her own lies. Zhang Yi was horrible. He used his food supplies to humiliate me. He wanted me to sleep with him. Hearing this, he exclaimed in shock, What? He was so angry he wanted to eat the other man alive. That Zhang Yi is a real bastard. How dare he do something like that to you? I have to deal with him. Wu Qing seized the chance to flatter Zhou Peng. Let's figure out a way to take his house. After that, we can live there together. What do you think? His pride stoked, Zhou Peng puffed out his chest. You just leave this to me. But a selfish, shameless guy like Zhang Yi will fight back, so we have to go over there with weapons. Ai Ning, trailing behind them, suggested, why don't we just beat him up directly? Now, they were holding weapons and standing before their target's door. After getting into position, Zhou Peng knocked to execute their plan. Zhang Yi, are you home? It's Zhou Peng. Hearing a voice, he turned on the camera to check. What was Zhou Bang looking for him for? Zhang Yi's gut told him this guy wasn't here for anything good, and the weapons they were carrying, which immediately caught his eye, confirmed their malicious intent. Zhang Yi was furious. Trying to take me out with just a few of you? Seeing no response from inside, the man outside spoke again. Zhang Yi, it's me, Zhou Bang. We're out of food. For old time's sake, since we're colleagues, how about I trade you some fever medicine for your stuff? Suddenly, Zhang Yi's eyes landed on something. He looked at the pot of leftover food in the corner of the room. Instantly, a wicked idea popped into his head. Fever medicine, huh? Well, that's very generous. Let me think about it for a second. Believing his prey had taken the bait, a smug look appeared on Zhou Bang's face. No problem. We're really hungry now. We're colleagues, after all. Better you profit than someone else, right? Hurry up and open the door. While talking, Zhang Yi was busy feeding a water pipe through the crack in the door. All right, coming right now. Hearing this, the whole group got into position, ready to attack. He's coming! Before they could even see him, they were sprayed in the face with filthy water. Ning panicked, looking at the gunk on his body. Ugh, what is this stuff? Yu Qing almost fainted on the spot when she realized. This is leftover food. With that, Zhou Bang dropped the act and showed his true colors. Zhang Yi, get your ass out here! I'm going to beat you to a pulp! Already furious, he was now being mocked by Zhang Yi. Weren't you starving? I'm rewarding you with some leftovers. Aren't you going to thank me? This threw Zhou Bang for a loop.
How did he know? So all he could do was make empty threats.
You just wait. Once I get in, I'll deal with you.
With that, he slammed the doorknob violently, hoping to break in and get rid of the person inside. But when he touched the door's surface, an icy cold shot through Zhou Bang's hand. He was sent sprawling to the floor, screaming in agony. Zhang Yi scoffed. Another clueless fool. He comfortably propped his feet up on the table and enjoyed the show before him. Me? If I don't have to go outside, I absolutely won't. I won't even take a 0.01% risk. I'll just cook you guys alive until you can't take it anymore. After successfully provoking the group, Zhang Yi was about to go to bed when a noise startled him. He reflexively jumped up and, at the same time, recognized the sound of a gunshot. This made Zhang Yi wonder. Someone in the complex has a firearm? So he grabbed his iPad to check. That's when the truth was laid bare. Chen Zhenghao. He was still alive. Through the screen, Zhang Yi could see him, and two of his lackeys were hauling supplies. In the bottom corner, there was also a small basin of water, which gave Zhang Yi a clue. After the water supply was cut, people had to go outside and melt snow to drink. He and his minions were taking advantage of this opportunity. He even had a clear grasp of the situation. A resident on the third floor would be screwed. Not only would their supplies be stolen, but they would also be eliminated. There'd be no way to hold out for long. On the other side, Hu Fei excitedly reported, "Brother Hao, it's all done." "What do we do now?" Zheng Hao came up with another plan. "Don't rush. First, let's put on a show of force for these cowards." In the homeowners group chat, he arrogantly threatened them and sent a picture for good measure. "From now on, we can't rely on anyone. Starting today, I'm in charge of the 25 apartments here. Everything is my decision. Obey me, and you'll live in peace. Otherwise, you've seen what happens." Watching his tactics, even Zhang Yi had to admit that Chen Zhenghao was quite clever. No wonder he was able to thrive in this society. However, he could see right through his scheme. He couldn't possibly handle the entire building. So, he's using the carrot-and-stick approach first, making everyone hate him but feel powerless to do anything. But it didn't stop there. Something else caught Zhang Yi's attention. A new group had been created. The frustrated residents of the complex had made their own group to expose Chen Zhenghao. "He's already robbed 3 apartments, just kicked the doors in. And one of the apartments, he just dealt with them directly with his weapon. The other 2 were scared into giving up all their food." They continued to discuss. "We have to unite and fight back against him. But he has a gun." "So what if he has a gun? If we all rush him at once, how can he possibly defend himself? So, when do we make our move?" Zhang Yi commented to himself, "Are they planning an armed uprising?" The group chat was now buzzing with plans and strategies. "We can definitely handle him. After all, he's just a criminal with a couple of goons. We need to plan this carefully." "Right. We have to use our wits." These words made Zhang Yi burst out laughing. Just a second ago, they were shouting about using their wits to win. After talking so tough just now, they're probably just hoping someone else gets hot-headed and goes to block the bullets for them. Then, a message from Ji Guang made him freeze. "We can't let Chen Zhenghao continue like this. If we don't, he'll take us all out. Even if he doesn't kill us with his gun, if he robs us of all our food, isn't that a death sentence?" Therefore, he angrily volunteered, "I can lead the way. Everyone, come with me and we'll go teach those animals a lesson." Seeing this call to action, the whole group immediately agreed. "I'm with you, Uncle View. Do you need weapons? Tran Chin Hao is a real piece of work. Uncle View, you should find a chance to ambush him. Don't give him any time to assess the situation. Qi Kwang can confirm they have 5 to 6 people, and they've got firearms. It's definitely not safe for me to go alone. I'll need at least 10-something young guys with me. Only then will we be safe." Things were just getting quiet, and suddenly someone pops up to object? No way. Old Man Lamb from the neighborhood committee just tricked us out of all our stuff. Who knows if this Uncle View is just like him? Furious, Lu Neem sent a voice message. "That old hag tricked us out of our life-saving supplies. If you take all the able-bodied fighters and surrender to Tran Chin Hao, then what's going to happen to the elderly, women, and children left behind?" Now the chat group is split into 2 factions, on the verge of fighting each other. Are we supposed to just sit here and wait for Tran Chin Hao's crew to come deal with us? Lu DMDM was right. Who knows if this Uncle View is a spy or not? Truong Dik looked at the chaos, completely fed up. I really expected too much from them. After that, he scooped his delicious food onto a plate. By now, Truong Ditch was so exasperated he couldn't even be bothered to read the messages. Things have gotten this bad,
and they're still blaming each other. Most of these people could go to hell and still not have paid for their sins. Lost in thought, he accidentally put a spoonful of scalding soup into his mouth. So hot! So hot! In another house, a loud commotion erupted. Chin Hao was clearly holding a firearm as he gave orders. "What are you idiots doing moving so slow? Waiting for dinner? Move it!" Feeling that this act was too cruel, Tran Vu spoke up. "Brother Hao, maybe we should just stop. The other people in this building must still have food. It hasn't gotten to the point where we have to turn on our own brothers." Before he could finish, the man pointed his weapon at him and cursed, "Cut the crap! I told you to do it, so just do it. They're sick and not going to make it anyway. Why are we keeping them in the house? You want to end up like them?" Terrified, Tran Vu had no choice but to begrudgingly agree. "No. Brother Hao is right. If they're not going to live anyway, we should make use of them to help us survive." What a great idea that is. Hearing this, Chin Hao became cheerful again. "Good, as long as you understand. My good intentions weren't wasted on you." But deep down, he knew that if he didn't have a weapon in his hands, this group wouldn't necessarily listen to him. Only by eating flesh together could they all be considered on the same side. Truongdich had witnessed the entire brutal scene. This Tran Chin Hao is truly vicious. Keeping them at the door, he's probably planning to use them as emergency rations when the food runs out. After that thought, he stretched out comfortably. If that guy ever actually makes a move on me, I'll just find a chance to take him out. The next day, the group chat suddenly exploded with messages. "Everyone, please come save me. Tran Chin Hao's group is breaking down my door. Uncle View, please save me. You can't trust these people. Everyone, we have to stick together again." At that moment, Lai Hua was cowering in her house, terrified. "If something happens to me, you'll all be next." The pounding on the door from outside made her heart feel like it would leap out of her chest. Soon enough, the group poked their heads inside. All Li Hua could do was plead desperately. "Please spare me, the food in my house. I'll give it all to you, just please, let me go." But the vicious group still ruthlessly dragged her away. Tears streamed down Lai Hua's face as she begged for her life in vain. It seemed like she might get some sympathy, but the group chat was filled with malicious comments. "Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Definitely getting what she deserves in this life. Good thing she's the first one to go under the knife. At least it buys everyone else some time." Now even Vu Tin was starting to worry. She had to think of a plan. They can turn on others, so sooner or later it'll be our turn. Meanwhile, Ngai Nin was always passive. "What are we supposed to do? We can't get into the house. Trungdik will end up just like Lu Diem Diem." Vu Tin bit her nails, racking her brain. She told the people she could trust about the supplies in Trungdik's house. "Let's team up and take over his house." Right after that, a notification popped up on Trungdik's phone. "Welcome to the new group, Mutual Support Squad." As soon as he opened the chat, he saw a plea from Vu Tin. "Trungdik, it's too dangerous outside right now. Your house has a vulnerable balcony door. We hope you'll join our team." Trungdik smirked. After seeing that Ton Tri Siu and Vuong Man had joined the chat, it seemed Phuong Vu Tin had already filled them in. Not bad. But they didn't even bother to ask who was the one that crippled Tran Chin Hao. Trungdik quickly sent a voice message. "Thanks, but I'm living quite comfortably on my own. Go look somewhere else." Trungdik thought to himself, "Including me? Do they really think this tactic will work?" Everyone was continuously begging, trying everything to sway him. "Everyone's in danger now. Only by staying together can we survive." However, Trungdik just gave a short reply and left the group. "Survival depends on your own abilities. You all are worthless to me." Everyone was stunned by Trungdik's heartless response. Vu Tin gripped her phone with both hands. "He's completely shameless. We all know each other. How could he say something so inhuman?" Wang Man finally spoke up. "I let you girls in out of respect for my cousin. Besides, you promised you'd convince him to let us into his place. Now he's refusing. So what's your point?" Her words made her and Ai Ning turn pale with panic. Just then, Zi Chao offered his opinion. "There's no need to be polite with this kind of person. Let's just force our way in and break his door down." Hearing this, Liu Tao also agreed. "Let's do that. A selfish person like him doesn't deserve such a nice house." Then he started boasting. "I used to work for a locksmith company. I can open any common lock." As if she'd found a lifeline, Yu Qing cheered him on. "As long as you can get the security door open, the rest of us can just rush in. Let's see how he tries to fight back then." The group then watched as Liu Tao began to meticulously examine the door. From behind, Yu Qing smirked wickedly, thinking to herself, besides splashing water, you don't have any other tricks up your sleeve. She laughed triumphantly while Liu Tao was at work. Just wait till we get inside. You're finished. Zhang Yi. However, he had already figured out every move of the people on the other side. Secretly picking the lock? Zhang Yi chuckled silently at his safe house control panel. The security door has 5 extra layers of defense on par with a bank vault door. If it could be picked that easily, wouldn't all my money have been wasted? Without hesitation, he activated the high-voltage defense function. Outside, Liu Tao was electrocuted and screamed in agony. Ah! His blood-curdling scream scared everyone to death. Help me! In the end, he quickly collapsed onto the floor. He was completely cooked through. Seeing this, Yu Qing could only cover her face and shriek in terror. At that moment, an enraged Zichao, showing no fear, started cursing. Zhang Yi, you bastard! Get the hell out here! Wang Man pretended to be reasonable again. We came here to negotiate sharing the house. Why would you resort to murder? Aren't you going to explain yourself? However, Zhang Yi, from behind the door, had already taken out his crossbow and continued his charade. How interesting. After you picked the lock, your next step was to either kill me or throw me out to fend for myself. He coldly raised his weapon and began to take aim. I'm ready to send any trespasser to meet their maker. This has always been my house, yet you all plan to divide it as if you were the real owners. You're courting death. Zhang Yi pulled the trigger. The arrow shot out from the slot in the door, heading straight for Zichao. The arrow embedded itself deep in his shoulder, and he screamed in pain. Seeing his comrade injured, Zhou Pong quickly hoisted Zichao onto his shoulder and started to flee. Let's go. Zhang Yi is really trying to kill us. Ting Feng also agreed. As long as the green hills are there, we won't have to worry about firewood. Let's retreat for now. Just as they finished speaking, 2 more arrows were fired, so fast that no one could react in time. Unsurprisingly, this time both Ting Feng and Zhou Pong were injured. Not far away, Wang Man had already bolted, leaving Ai Ning and Yu Qing to chase after her desperately. Wait! Don't leave me! Wait for us, Sister Wang! A moment later they arrived where Wang Man was sitting by the fallen Zhou Pang, while the other 2 stood in silence. After checking the wound for a moment, she suddenly gasped in horror. These arrowheads are all rusted! This made Zichao furious. That coward hiding in his shell is truly vicious. He's intentionally using rusted arrowheads against us. Ting Feng worriedly said, without any antibiotics. Getting hit in this weather means we can only pray to God. Clutching his bleeding wound, he gritted his teeth and groaned in pain. No, why is this happening? Unable to contain her anger, Wang Man didn't hesitate to slap Yu Qing straight across the face. Damn it! This is all your fault. She then continued to unleash her fury on her. Didn't you people say the only secure thing in his house was the door? Then why does he have a crossbow? You knew about this all along, didn't you? Is that why you were trying to run so far away, right? Now Yu Qing could only cover her face and sob. I didn't know either. The 2 times we went over there before. He never used a crossbow to attack us. Seeing the situation getting more tense, Zhou Pang stepped in to mediate. Cousin, don't be like that. I can vouch for her. Yu Qing really didn't know. Zichao came forward and grabbed Wang Man's shoulder. We're all injured now. We need someone to take care of us. Hearing this, she immediately shouted, Then what are you waiting for? Get over here and help. While Ai Ning's group went to provide first aid, Wang Man pulled out her phone with a tense expression. With injuries this severe, we can only ask Dr. Chu for help. Not long after care arrived, Wang Man placed all her trust in her. Dr. Chu, the lives of my family are in your hands. The moment she saw Zhou Pong's wound, she couldn't hide her surprise and exclaimed, Hit by an arrow again? Her words made Wang Man curious. Again? Was someone else shot by an arrow? Kair froze for a moment, then quickly changed the subject. No, it was a previous patient at the hospital. After finishing her examination, she announced the results. The wound is too deep, unless we have professional surgical equipment. I can't be completely sure. Simply treating it or pulling the arrow out will both lead to infection. She emphasized the severity, causing Wang Man's eyes to well up with tears. Without antibiotic treatment by then, I'm afraid. A few seconds later, she collapsed to her knees in despair. Zhang Yi is so cruel. Even if we took his house, we wouldn't have killed him. Kair wondered to herself, is Zhang Yi the owner of that apartment? So he's the one who caused these injuries? Finally, she gave her advice. In short, Without medicine, it's very dangerous to pull out the arrow yourselves. I hope you all can understand. Her words startled Yu Qing. Medicine. It was as if she had just remembered something important. I remember. Zhang Yi has medicine in his house. A month ago, I saw with my own eyes someone delivering a lot of medicine to him. At his house, Yu Qing began to share the information she had gathered. About a month ago, Zhang Yi started frantically hoarding supplies. Every day they saw deliveries being made to his house. Once, a truck from a pharmaceutical company came to the complex, and Zhang Yi went to receive the delivery. Hearing this, Kier wasn't too surprised. Antibiotics aren't exactly rare. If he knew disaster was coming and was hoarding goods, he would have a lot of antibiotics and fever reducers. Yongjing died a slow and painful death. This scared Zi Chao out of his wits. Then let's hurry and find Zhang Yi so he can save me. Ding Feng, lying weakly on the sofa, managed to add, I think I'm going to die. Hurry up and think of something. The urgent situation made Wang Min even more anxious. He just chased us away. How could he possibly give us life-saving medicine? Yu Xing tried to justify their actions. We weren't going to hurt him. We even planned to leave him some supplies after we broke the door down. She saw no fault in her actions and stated it with conviction. He attacked because he couldn't appreciate our good intentions. We're the ones in the right. What is there to be afraid of? Unexpectedly, upon hearing this, Wang Min gave an order. This job is yours. Besides, Zhang Yi used to pursue you, so it makes the most sense for you to do it. Zi Chao agreed. Right. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have gotten hurt. Even Zhou Peng could no longer defend her. Yu Qing, you'll have to bite the bullet on this one. We can only protect you if we all survive. Under everyone's pressure, she finally agreed reluctantly. All right, I'll try my best. Then, they asked Care to take care of the injured. Dr. Chu, please help them get the arrows out first. Just relax your hands and do it. A horrifying, pain-filled scream rang out just as Zhang Yi's voice came through the phone. Hello, what's up? The moment he answered, she started weeping. Zhang Yi, Liu Tao is dead. Zhou Peng's group, the ones you shot, they're not going to make it either. But his only reply was a mocking laugh. Ha! He's dead? So what? It was bound to happen sooner or later. At that moment, Zhang Yi was leisurely preparing a delicious dinner. Did you people really think you could survive this blizzard? As he coldly chopped a piece of bright red, blood-tinged beef, he thought, the blizzard has blanketed the city. This building has become an isolated island. The residents inside are all just trying to hold on. Once supplies run out, even if the remaining people aren't sent to their graves by Chen Zhenghao, they'll freeze to death, or starve to death, even so. Yu Qing still tried to appeal to his compassion. Zhang Yi, I know I was wrong. It's all my fault. I betrayed your sincere feelings. I'll change. Can't you forgive me? Wang Min couldn't stand watching her pathetic begging any longer. They were shot by you. We don't have any medicine left in the apartment. They're going to get infected. Didn't you buy a lot before? I'm begging you, please give us some medicine. This is taking way too long. She immediately snatched the phone and yelled, Zhang Yi! Everyone is living from one day to the next, and we have Chen Zhenghao causing trouble. Don't be so heartless. You might need us later. Her arrogant words made him laugh. Heartless. Well then, why don't you guess why I used rusty arrows to shoot them? Before she could answer, he coldly emphasized the reason. I wanted to see this exact outcome. You people getting injured, getting infected, being tormented by pain, and collapsing in despair and agony. Not stopping there, Zhang Yi continued to rub salt in the wound. So, why haven't you taken your comrade's body away yet? The hatred is endless. It helps you wait for the day you come for revenge. Wang Min tried to argue, We're not like that. But then, Zhang Yi gave them a small glimmer of hope. Stop talking, this is boring. For the sake of the fact that I once pursued Fang Yu Qing, I might consider it. But only she can come over. Like a fish thrown back into water, Yu Qing grabbed the phone and agreed without hesitation. From now on, I am your woman. You can do whatever you want with me. Whatever you want, I will obey. Zhang Yi smirked and replied, All right, Yu Qing, come over now. Seeing her friend find a lifeline, Ai Ning rushed closer. Take me with you, take me with you. But her joy was short-lived as he reminded her, But Yu Qing, the one I love is you and you alone. You must keep your distance from those people. Those shady people. Don't let them get in our way, all right? Hearing this, she immediately pretended to be obedient. It's all up to you, darling. I'll listen to everything you say. As soon as she finished speaking, she prepared to leave the group behind. I'm coming over right now. Wait for me. Immediately after, Yu Qing decisively slapped away the hand of her former best friend. "Get out of my way! Don't stop me from going to Zhang Yi's place! I've had enough of these past few days!" Wang Min couldn't take it anymore. She walked up and slapped her right across the face. "You shameless bitch! You dragged us into this mess, and now you want to leave without taking responsibility? In your dreams!" Zhou Peng cried out in pain. "Yu Qing! Didn't you say you hated Zhang Yi the most? That you wanted to be my woman?" Unexpectedly, his answer was Yu Qing's true face. "I'm pursuing my own happiness. Being with you all was just temporary. Later, when all the supplies are gone, won't we all just be sitting here waiting for the end anyway?" He tremblingly answered her. Then she grabbed his hand, crying her eyes out. "Brother Zhou Peng, you're a good person. But when you love someone, you have to want them to be happy, right? Even though you've helped me before, when it comes down to it, can you really give me as much as Zhang Yi can?" These words left him completely devastated. Seeing her cousin so demoralized, Wang Min came over to comfort him. "Cousin, don't waste your anger on a bitch like her. Our lives are what's most important." Meanwhile, Ai Ning was still hounding her, demanding her share. "Fang Yuting, what gives you the right to hog all the benefits for yourself?" Then Ai Ning pinned Yuting down, causing her to scream her head off. Let me go, you people, let me go, let me go, let me go." Wang Min quickly told Ai Ning to keep an eye on Yuting. "You see it too, don't you? This woman only thinks about herself. She never gives a damn about anyone else. Watch her for me. Don't let her escape." At that moment, Care had just finished giving everyone first aid. "What I just did was only a temporary fix. If we don't get some medicine, there's a high chance of infection later on. Everyone should prepare themselves for the worst." Suddenly, Ji Chao had an idea. "I still have a way to deal with Zhang Yi." Wang Min turned back, intrigued. "What is it?" He gently pushed up his glasses and began his analysis. "Zhang Yi's house has a fireplace built into the wall. He stockpiled a lot of fuel, and he has a ton of food in his apartment, too." Seeing that no one had any objections, Zi Chao continued, "So why don't we leak this information and let the whole building know? That way we can also get a piece of the action." Feeling her own interests were threatened, Yuting immediately objected. "You people are too shameless." "I'm going to be living with Zhang Yi. If you guys do this, what's supposed to happen to me later on?" Immediately, Wang Min raised her hand to slap her. "This is all your fault, and you still have the nerve to stand here and run your mouth, you bitch." However, before she could strike, Zhou Peng stopped her. "Stop!" Hearing this, Wang Min became even more furious. "She's the one who got us into this mess, and now she wants to run into another man's arms. What's there to even like about her?" But he still did his best to protect Yuting. "Don't talk about her like that. I truly love Yuting. Sooner or later she'll love me back." Then he even turned back to comfort her. "Don't be afraid. I'm here." Wang Min gritted her teeth and turned away. "Useless simp! Let that bitch run your life into the ground for all I care." Without hesitation, she spread the news to the whole building. "Hey neighbors, I just found out that some people are still living happily like nothing's wrong. This kind of selfish behavior is truly and utterly shameless." Zheng Hao and his cronies read Wang Min's messages, practically drooling with greed. Deng Lun's eyes went wide. "Brother Hao, this..." Greed spurred the man to start plotting. "This kid's house has so much good stuff. Perfect. I can settle old scores and new ones all at once." In the apartment complex's group chat, the residents were in an uproar, demanding things from Zhang Yi. "You, hurry up and bring out your supplies to help us. As your elder, I demand you hand them over. Just let me stay at your place and I'll give you all my assets." After reading the messages, Zhang Yi, who was warm and well-fed, just scoffed. Heh. Looking at the piece of meat skewered on his fork, he mused sarcastically, "On what grounds? Do I even know you people?" The clean, shiny fork reflected his scornful expression. "Back then, was I just like this piece of meat for you all to tear apart?" He tossed his phone aside and continued to enjoy his delicious meal. There's no reasoning with a bunch of heartless animals. Meanwhile, Ji Chao's group was getting extremely impatient. "Isn't this guy afraid of dying? The spit from all of us combined would be enough to drown him." Over on Chun Hei's side, she was just as furious. "This guy is unbelievable. How dare he enjoy himself alone at a time like this?" Chiu Hao even muttered a threat. "Just wait until this snowstorm is over. I'll deal with you, you little bastard." The group chat exploded with resentment. "We're neighbors! Aren't we supposed to help each other out? You have to contribute to society. It's because you kept the news to yourself that we're in this miserable state."
You have to make up for it. Despite the chaos in the group chat, Zhang Yi calmly poured himself some wine. As he was savoring the taste, a few pleading messages came in. Li Mai continued to use her child to try and soften his heart. Si Yu was even willing to offer herself. Then there was Wen Qiang, trying to appeal to their old friendship. Zhang Yi paid no attention to any of these messages. His gaze just followed the snowflakes as they fell. It's so boring staying at home all the time. Maybe I should go out for a bit? Suddenly an idea popped into his head. That's right. I still have a few snowmobiles. He walked around with a bright smile, thinking to himself, even though I can't go out right now. Hey, my future safety is guaranteed. I can go out and get a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to something else. On Zhang Yi's phone screen, a message notification appeared from Care. In every word, she revealed their hardship. Mr. Zhang, my family has truly run out of food and medicine. This piqued his interest. As expected of a doctor, she's very rational, not asking for a handout but wanting to trade, huh? He thought back on his impression of Care from his past life. She died because she gave her food to Li Mai and her child. Even though she seemed cold, she was actually quite kind-hearted when it mattered most. An idea started to form in Zhang Yi's mind. Maybe I should have her stay here and take care of me, but smart women are more likely to betray you. At this thought, he stretched lazily. And I'm really afraid of dying, you know. Then he raised a hand to his chin, contemplating. Even though Joke here is a possibility. I'm not 100% sure. I can't just let her in. While Care was shivering from the cold, Zhang Yi replied, If you want to trade, at least think of something useful to me. She quickly sent back a voice message. How about a portion of my consultation fee paid in advance? I really can't hold on any longer. Her hand clutched the cold phone tightly, her heart filled with shame. I've never had to beg a strange man like this before. On the other end, Zhang Yi calmly replied, I can give you supplies, but you have to help me. Ni was a bit curious. What is it? His simple request was laid out immediately. Those neighbors will lose their patience soon. I want you to monitor their actions and report back to me at any time. He even goaded her, You can choose to betray them and side with me, or follow the crowd and continue to observe. This left Ni feeling conflicted. Soon after, Ni responded, I agree. This was all within Zhang Yi's expectations. Excellent. She took the bait. Then he deliberately added another instruction. You must exchange intelligence for supplies. You should be clear on what you have to do. Ni's reply was cold. I'm clear on it. After finishing her exchange with Zhang Yi, she stared blankly at her phone screen. At the same time, the residents' impatience was showing in their messages. Where the hell did Zhang Yi go? Is he going to hand over the supplies or not? Even Zhang Yi was a little surprised by the shamelessness of this group. Give them an inch and they'll take a mile. Have they gotten addicted to it? He then used a mocking tone to taunt the group. I'd rather burn it all than give it to you people. On Zi Chao's end, he was so angry he was grinding his teeth. He's about to die and he's still this stubborn. Just you wait, you little brat. Immediately after, Zi Chao invited Zheng Hao into the residence group. He began to sway public opinion. Everyone, our target right now is Zhang Yi. As long as we take him down, we'll have plenty of supplies. But this time, I get half of the supplies. Of course, he was very supportive of the guy. Right. It's time we put aside our grudges and unite with a common goal. Attack Zhang Yi to take our supplies. When Jiguang saw this message, he panicked. They've all gone insane. I have to warn little Zhang. Ni also immediately contacted Zhang Yi. They're making their move. I have to warn him quickly. She sent him a warning message. They're on their way to your place. Despite this, he didn't seem flustered at all. I know. The situation was so serious that Ni was getting anxious on Zhang Yi's behalf. They've gone crazy after watching that video. Aren't you going to do something? Seeing how panicked she really was, he sent a reassuring message. Don't come over here this time. I'm only saying this once. He already had a gun in his hand. Now, let's wait for the show to begin. Meanwhile, the residents were heading to Zhang Yi's place, carrying clubs and shouting, Zhang Yi, with this weapon in hand, I'll kill you. Not only did they feel no guilt, they even cursed him. Beat that selfish bastard to death. He deserves this. They gathered together, ready to break down the door. Zhang Yi, get the hell out here. This is your last chance. Once we break in, it'll be too late for anything.
Through the surveillance monitor, Zhang Yi saw everything. Sun Zichao and Chen Zhenghao, what great teammates, using you all as cannon fodder. Then he pressed a button with a lightning bolt symbol. At that moment, a resident was about to smash the door with a club. "Zhang Yi, get the hell out here for me!" The instant his makeshift hammer touched the door, his entire body was racked with violent electric shocks. It wasn't just him. Anyone standing nearby was also electrocuted. One of them realized what was happening and yelled, "It's high voltage! Get back!" Just as the current stopped, the unlucky group of people lay unconscious on the ground. This made all the remaining residents' faces turn pale with fear. They immediately turned to report to Zheng Hao's group. "Brother Hao, Zhang Yi's door is electrified with high voltage. A few people have been—" Obviously, the guy couldn't care less about whether they lived or died. He even pointed his gun at the person who just spoke, threatening, "So? Are you planning to retreat?" The one who broke the tense standoff was Ji Chao. "That animal Zhang Yi dared to kill our neighbors. We must get revenge on him." He encouraged everyone by listing off tempting spoils of war. "Everyone, just use wooden clubs to hit the door. He can't have that many tricks up his sleeve. Heaters and food are waiting for us." With just a few sentences, he successfully stoked the residents' hatred for Zhang Yi. "We've struggled miserably for more than half a month to get into that warm room. It would be worth dying for." A heavy wooden log was rammed against the sturdy door. They heaved the log together to break it down. "Brothers, follow me. Let's eliminate Zhang Yi." The loud noise outside was giving Zhang Yi a headache. Holding a glass of wine, he let out a long yawn. How long are they planning to keep this racket up? On top of that, he even grabbed a remote to taunt them. "Keep going. I'll play some music to cheer you on." Zhang Yi's provocation drove the residents insane with rage. "We'll see how arrogant you are in a little while. You'll pay for my brother's life with your own." Despite their high morale, they quickly grew exhausted. "No, I can't. What's going on?" The door, despite being hit repeatedly, was only lightly scratched, leaving them bewildered. "Why is this door so tough? At this rate, when will we ever break it down?" Just then, Yan Cheng stepped forward to inspect the lock and concluded, "This is a vault-grade security door from the bank where I used to work." Hearing this, they fell even deeper into despair. "Damn it, so this thing is unbreakable?" Of course, he could only sigh helplessly. Even a bomb couldn't break through this type of door. While he was explaining, without the key, Zhang Yi was already holding a crossbow and approaching the door. A small slot silently opened, revealing Yan Cheng, who was explaining his plan. Only a top-tier master lockpicker could open it. An arrow shot out like a flash and embedded itself straight into his neck, stunning everyone. Immediately, the severely injured Yan Cheng issued a warning. "He has a weapon, watch out!" With him as an example, the residents now knew fear. They scrambled to flee in a panic. "Why are you pushing me?" "You're clearly the one pushing me. Watch out or I'll kill you first." However, he spared no one. As a volley of arrows was fired, unlucky people like Chi Su were even surrounded by them. "Truong ditch, you animal. Some people have already died from your shots." Cries of resentment and curses echoed through the hallway. "You demon, why don't you go to hell?" Despite being cursed at, Truong-dit continued to prepare his arrows. Just then, Chi Su stepped forward to calm the crowd. "Everyone, don't panic. I have a plan." Chi Su placed his hand on the wall and muttered softly. "His door is made of a metal alloy. We can't open it." He kept repeating those words, which actually made the residents think of another plan. "That's right. Why didn't I think of that? We can smash through this wall." They quickly got to work, smashing every side of the apartment's walls. With victory seemingly in his grasp, Chi Su was ecstatic. That dog Truong-dit won't be smiling for long. The flimsy wall soon cracked, and a small piece broke off. A resident holding a wooden mallet prepared to put all his strength into this one final blow. However, as soon as the mallet hit the wall, the force of the impact recoiled, numbing his arm so badly he cried out, "Ah, why is it so hard?" Behind that thin layer of cement was a solid iron wall. This stunned Chi Su. There's still an iron plate inside? The iron wall significantly depleted the residents' will. Some had already started dropping their weapons, lamenting their fate. Why would anyone build their walls with steel? I don't believe this whole house is made of iron. A few more persistent people tried using their tools to break through the other sides of the house. Of course, Truong-dit knew everything that was happening, but he had no intention of stopping the chaos. "Go ahead, you people. Keep trying. The outer wall is reinforced with 20 centimeters of refined steel, and you expect to break it with just an axe? The soundproofing is on. He turned it on. Go on, waste your energy on this pointless work. After struggling for a while, the residents realized they couldn't break into the house. Truong Dick. Murmurs began to rise among them. Who builds a house like this? I can't believe he modified his house to be like this. Meanwhile, Chi Siu was so angry he was choking. Truong Dick! He began to shout accusations. He knew a disaster was coming, so he prepared for it and left us out. His words once again ignited the fury of the residents. That despicable coward. If we all die, what's the point of him living? Won't he be lonely? Don't you feel any guilt? One resident even fell to his knees, crying. You'll regret what you did today for the rest of your life. At that moment, Chin Hao stepped forward to boost morale. What are you all rushing for? Doesn't his house still have a ceiling and a floor? He assigned tasks clearly. Split into 2 groups and break through. I refuse to believe we can't break open this iron box. Everyone followed his orders, splitting into 2 small groups to break through from the floor and the ceiling. Truong-dik could hear the noise from multiple directions, but he just sneered. Chin Hao, a brain is a useful thing. Too bad I'm not an idiot. The group breaking the ceiling, after trying their best to smash through, still hit an iron wall. No way! How do we get in? The group breaking the floor was just as hopeless. It's the same down here. This house was a seamless iron box. Some were so exhausted they collapsed to the ground. One resident, who had been hungry for too long, looked at the others who were just as tired as him and felt a profound despair. So hungry, I feel like I'm starving to death. Then, as he looked at everyone, a savage thought sparked in his mind. That's right. Isn't this meat? The intense hunger made the group of doomed people stare at each other, their mouths watering. However, the last remnants of their humanity were enough to keep them sane. Aizu, it's been so long, but he's still warm. Yes, the smell is driving me crazy. Meanwhile, Chi Shu was so anxious that sweat was pouring down his face like rain. Is there really no other way? Finally, he was so desperate he could only scream in agony. Truong Ditch, you bastard! How can you live like this? Compared to so many of us? Can't you sacrifice yourself a little? Can't you? Just then, Ngip Tang also came forward and offered his opinion. Maybe we could try the balcony. 6Y had the same idea. He renovated the floor-to-ceiling windows on the terrace. They were replaced with a single large pane of transparent glass. Maybe there's a chance to break in there. Those words once again ignited hope and stirred excitement in their hearts. The windows! If there's a window, there must be a way in. He can't have sealed everything. As long as there's one window, we can get in. Ha 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 ha! Without a moment's pause, right after their gleeful declaration, they grabbed their tools and began to carry out their plan. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi was comfortably enjoying a hot cup of coffee in the snowy winter weather, even as a group of people besieged by hunger stood before him. He calmly pondered that if there really were zombies, they would witness a chaotic scene just like this. But in the end, he was still relaxed, musing that it would probably be just like this crowd is now. At this moment, they erupted with curses. I'm gonna smash this glass! You're dead, you selfish, worthless bastard! Greed mixed with resentment filled every single word they hissed. You don't have much time to act crazy. Today is the day you die. All that delicious food will be mine. It'll all be mine. And yet, Zhang Yi remained completely unconcerned, not even a hint of fear. He still had the leisure to slowly walk into the kitchen. Soon he had prepared a homemade bomb. Very soon, you won't be able to scream anymore. Then he tossed it lightly with an amused smile on his face. Let these frozen devils warm you all up. Don't forget to thank me. The sound drew the attention of the people on the ceiling. There's something up there. By the time it came into their view, it was a bottle engulfed in roaring flames. The one who spotted it first had to take the full hit, with no time to dodge. What followed were the panicked screams of those standing around him. Ah! Fire! It's Zhang Yi! He threw a Molotov cocktail, and the unlucky guy who took the full force of his attack couldn't take it anymore. He lost his balance and let himself fall freely from the balcony. Of course, Zhang Yi's calculations weren't just for one person. Better to fall to your death than be burned alive. The end for the unfortunate soul was clear. All he could do was stare wide-eyed and beg, "Help me! Save me!" Unfortunately, Zhang Yi was always a man who stuck to his principles. Seeing this, the group of troublemakers had no other choice. They turned to beg their comrades in the other building. "Help, save me, I don't want to die, somebody please save me." Looking at these human torches, Ji Chao gritted his teeth and screamed, "Get away! Get the hell away from here! In your condition, you're beyond saving. Don't drag us down with you." He hurriedly swung his hammer in his hand to push them away. "Don't come over here. You're already a lost cause. What if the fire spreads to us? Get down." It wasn't long before they couldn't hold on any longer, finally falling from the flimsy wooden plank. As time passed, the ones left on Zhang Yi's balcony had turned into black charcoal. Now, Ji Chao and 6 others, ignoring any sense of shame, directly warmed their bodies by the same comrades they had just rejected. So warm, so warm. Oh, warm. Time passed. After the human torches were completely extinguished, the survivors didn't stop, but continued to climb over the balcony, even stepping on the corpses of their companions without any psychological burden. Because the situation was so desperate, Luo Yun no longer hesitated and knelt down to beg Zhang Yi. "I'm about to starve to death. Save me. Even just a piece of bread will do." It didn't stop there. The others also rushed to humble themselves to the lowest point. "You have so much food in there. Share a little with us. From now on, we'll do anything you ask. We'll listen to whatever you say." Although Zhang Yi's words were placating, the bowl of noodles in his hand clearly said otherwise. "Everyone, please don't be like this. It's very hard to watch." Then, feigning sympathy, he didn't forget to wave the delicious morsel in his hand. "I feel so heartbroken. It just makes me want to eat something." Luo Yun and the people behind him were long past being able to say anything, their stomachs literally burning with hunger. In the end, Zhang Yi wasn't a completely cold person. He slowly said, "I can give you all a chance." In the next second, his eyes narrowed as he spat out a provocative offer. "Right now, whoever goes and brings me the head of Chen Zhenghao, I will give that person a week's supply of noodles like these. You can eat as much as you want." The entire crowd's gaze immediately shifted to the other side. As the main character of the conversation, the man still didn't realize he had become the target. Why did they stop attacking? He wondered to himself, could it be that Zhang Yi told them something? And then, before he could come to his senses, the group behind him, who had just received some news, their eyes lit up. Then they started to close in on Zheng Hao, causing him to panic. "What do you want? Get away from me!" It was only when he received a notification from Hu Fei that he was stunned to see Zhang Yi's message clearly. "Whoever can eliminate Chen Zhenghao, I will immediately provide food to that person for 1 week." This made him grind his teeth. "You shameless, despicable bastard, Tha's model, so you're still plotting against me, huh?" Then, seeing the man turn his back, Chi Xiu frantically yelled, "Wait! If you leave, what are we supposed to do about Zhang Yi's place? What can Zheng Hao do besides curse? Damn it, we can't even land a hit on him." What else could they do but go back and think of another plan? Finally, the next day arrived. Byron was anxious about what they were about to do. "Do we really have to make a move?" he asked, only to be shot down by Luo Yun. "What's the point of all that useless talk? How much longer can that bastard Zheng Hao possibly live? We can still trade it for food with Zhang Yi." Just as he finished speaking, the crazed voice of Zheng Hao echoed throughout the hallway. "What are you dawdling for? Who are you waiting for? Let's get a move on. It's going to start getting colder if we wait any longer." Even though they were his own men, he didn't let his guard down for a second. "Haven't you eaten yet or something? Hurry it up!" Unfortunately for him, Luo Yun's group had already been pushed to despair. They decisively seized the opportunity. Just then, Deng Lun turned his head and was instantly horrified by the scene unfolding before him. In a split second, a frantic shout rang out, "Brother Hao, behind you, watch out!" The city was blanketed in white snow, and a biting wind howled through the gaps between the buildings. It painted a deathly scene, silent to the point of being eerie. Inside the cold hallway of a rundown apartment building, blood stained the gray stone floor, splattered like crimson shadows. Zheng Hao stood there, his hand gripping a still-smoking gun. The dark muzzle was pointed directly at the 2 motionless bodies on the floor. "You wanted me dead?" he growled in a raspy voice. "Then you can die first. And remember," he added, "chop them into little pieces for me." His men held their breath as they dragged the bodies away. Long, dark streaks of blood stained the floor. Suddenly, one of them gasped, his eyes wide with horror as he stared at Zheng Hao's back. "Brother Hao! They got you from behind!" A deep gash was visible through his thick puffer jacket.
Blood began to seep through the fabric. He just frowned in annoyance and clicked his tongue. Ch! With no other choice, he let Chen Yu help him as he staggered inside and pulled out his phone. His voice was ice cold as he spoke into it. "Dr. Chu, I've been injured. Get over here and patch me up." In a clean, quiet room, the dim yellow light cast a glow on Kair's pale face as she disinfected and dressed the wound. "I'm not doing this for free." Jung Hao smirked, his tone casual. "I can give you a share of these things." She trembled slightly, her hand pausing mid-air. "I don't need it." "I'd rather die than touch any of that." Jung Hao laughed as if he'd just heard the funniest joke in the world. "Oh, I couldn't let you do that." In this world we live in now, having a doctor around is pretty important. When she was finished, he even had the nerve to gently stroke Kair's cheek, his voice deceptively sweet. "Don't you worry. If a day ever comes when I have to sacrifice you, I'll make sure you're the last one to go." Kair's face went cold as she slapped his disgusting hand away. Just then she saw Deng Lun and Hu Fei approaching, their faces twisted into vile sneers. She clutched the strap of her medical bag, wary. "What do you want?" Jung Hao casually put his coat back on and loaded his gun, his voice indifferent. "Nothing. But you're not leaving until my wound is healed." They left Kair huddled in a corner, hugging her knees, and gathered to discuss the situation. Jung Hao was the first to speak. "This can't go on. That Luo Yun's crew dares to fight back now. It puts us at a huge disadvantage." Hu Fei was also out of ideas. "Brother Hao, we've attacked Zhang Yi's place several times now and we've failed every single time." Chen Yu nodded in agreement. "His place is like a turtle shell. It's impossible to get in." Kair's ears perked up when she heard one of the men speak. "I don't believe he'll stay inside forever. We should move into the apartment next door, watch him in shifts, and wait for an opportunity to take him out." She quietly got up and tiptoed toward the door. Jung Hao glanced over, his voice cutting like a knife. "Dr. Chu, where do you think you're going?" She stopped in her tracks, her expression calm as she replied curtly, "To the bathroom." Inside the dark, unwatched bathroom, Kair quickly pulled out her phone and texted Zhang Yi. "Jung Hao is planning to move into the apartment next to yours. Be careful." The reply was immediate. "Understood." She stayed where she was to observe the situation. A moment later, the door to the next apartment creaked open. Ye Chung appeared, forcing a smile. "Brother Hao, this place, it's all yours now. We'll leave right away." He and the other 6 residents cautiously flattened themselves against the wall as the group barged in, their eyes scanning the room as if they already owned it. Deng Lun and Hu Fei shot sharp, predatory glances at Kair, licking their lips like a pair of vipers. It was a vile expression that would make anyone's skin crawl. She and Ye Chung tried to slip past them, trying to be invisible. He walked on, his heart pounding so hard he felt it would burst from his chest. By giving them the house and the little food they had left, they could survive for a while longer. But just as he breathed a sigh of relief, a heavy blow came crashing down on the backs of their necks, and they both collapsed. Blood began to pool around their heads, glistening a deep crimson in the dim light like some infernal liquid. Witnessing the scene, Kair clapped a hand over her mouth and staggered back, her eyes wide with horror. Jung Hao smirked, his voice chillingly casual. "So naive. How could I possibly let a perfectly good duck that's flown right into my mouth go to waste?" He walked past her, giving her a meaningful look. "It's getting too cold. We have to stock up on provisions, you know, just in case we run out of things to eat." Wang Min's house had become a makeshift shelter. Apocalypse. Ding Fong, Zhou Bing, and Qi Xiu were sprawled across the old sofa. Qi Xiu frantically pulled at his sleeve, scratching his upper arm over and over again. "What the hell is going on? It's so itchy." His skin was covered in sores and blisters. Patches were peeling off, oozing blood as if his very flesh was being flayed. His face was ashen, and sweat poured down his face. His lips trembled, his eyes wild with panic. "No, don't do this!" He suddenly collapsed onto the floor, his entire body shaking uncontrollably. "I don't want to die! I don't want to die yet!" Ding Feng and Zhou Bing were also deeply worried. The air in the room grew thick, as if the specter of death itself was lingering there. Ding Feng clutched his head, curling into a ball and whispering in a desolate tone, "It's over. We're all done for. We're all going to die." Zhou Bing scrambled frantically toward Wang Min. "Cousin, Cousin, please, go beg Zhang Yi again. We can't let this go on.
Are all three of us going to die? He waved his hand dismissively, avoiding my gaze. I'm out of options. You're on your own. A few days later, inside a small room, Zhang Yi sat in front of a tablet, a look of amusement on his face, as if he were watching a fascinating play after they had been squatting for days without success.
What's he planning now?
On the screen, Chen Zhenghao was pointing a gun at a group of people, his voice roaring with authority. All of you, listen to me and do as I say. As long as you cooperate fully, we can still survive. He looked calm, but in reality, he was panicking. He didn't have much ammunition left, and all the food they had managed to steal these past few days was gone. He had to guard against outsiders while also being wary of his own subordinates turning on him. He had to capture that damn turtle, Zhang Yi, as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi leisurely chewed on some corn, his eyes glued to the screen. He's afraid of being betrayed by the people he's threatening, and also of being attacked by other groups. Suddenly, his phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen and answered. The voice on the other end was trembling, whispering as if afraid of being overheard. Are you okay? It was Kair. She avoided the guard's line of sight, keeping her voice as low as possible. Chen Zhenghao and his men, they've all gone insane. Right now, all the food is gone. They're gathering everyone who can still fight in their apartment, breaking into the homes of the weak, destroying and looting everything. She swallowed hard. Trying to suppress the nausea rising in her throat, she continued, These past few days, they've been hunting people every single day. As soon as they find someone's home, they attack. Then they kill the person, and then they use the body. Kair's face was pale and gaunt from hunger and fear. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I feel like I'm going to starve to death. Zhang Yi, can you still save me? Zhang Yi didn't answer right away, falling silent. Keeping Zhu Kair alive was still useful. A chief physician from the Triangle Hospital wasn't easy to find. He couldn't just let her die like this. He quickly formulated a perfect plan. Wasting these past few days has gotten boring anyway. It's time to give her a chance to prove her loyalty, and serve Chen Zhenghao a heavy blow at the same time. With that thought, he immediately stated his condition. Help me with one thing. If you succeed, I can let you live. Suddenly, frantic banging erupted from outside the door, as if trying to tear it off its hinges. Zhou Bang screamed madly, Zhang Yi, get out here! All you do is hide in your house all day! You're a useless, cowardly piece of trash! He remained behind the door, calm to the point of being cold. His voice was like a knife, cutting into Zhou Bang's twitching nerves. Zhou Bang, that infection doesn't feel too good, does it? He froze, his breathing hitched. Zhang Yi continued his clinical description. After the tetanus bacteria from that rusty rebar entered your wound, it was like maggots finding a rotting corpse. It started multiplying like crazy, eating your flesh and blood, and finally traveling through your veins all over your body. Zhou Bang lost his mind, his pupils shot with blood. Ah! Zhang Yi, I'll fucking kill you! You... But Zhang Yi remained calm, intentionally provoking him further. Either way, there's no doubt you're going to die. There's no cure for a late-stage infection. So while you're not dead yet, why not do something you never dared to do when you were alive? Zhou Bang's emotions were in turmoil, like a raging tide. He nodded slowly, spitting out each word, You're right. Zhang Yi's words pierced deep into Zhou Bang's mind like poisoned needles. He staggered against the wall, his thoughts in chaos. I'm going to die. What's there to be afraid of anymore? He dragged his heavy feet, slowly making his way to a dark room. As the door opened, he whispered, calling her name, Yu Qing. Seeing him suddenly collapse to his knees on the tiled floor, she recoiled in fear, defensively crossing her arms over her chest. Zhou Bang, what are you doing? His gaunt, trembling hand reached out and took hers, his eyes pleading. Yu Qing, will you marry me? She covered her nose and quickly turned away to avoid the overwhelming stench. No, I don't want to. Then she angrily shoved him, sending him sprawling onto the cold floor. If you're dying, then just go die somewhere else. God, the smell is killing me. I still have to go find Zhang Yi. Who do you think you are? To me, you're not even a spare tire. That blow landed right on Zhou Bang's fragile hope. No, this isn't real. His mind completely shattered. He lunged up and grabbed Yu Qing tightly by the throat. His voice became distorted like that of a dying animal. No, You love me. I'm dying. Let's go to hell together. We'll be together forever. She struggled in panic, landing a sharp slap across his face. God damn it, get off me. You stink. You're disgusting. Zhou Bong froze. His face went rigid, his eyes empty with disbelief. How dare you say I stink? In his last moment of sanity, he roared madly and pinned Yu Qing down. I'll give you something to complain about. Isn't this all your fault? Yu Qing choked out, her voice a mixture of indignation and despair. You're the useless one, and you're blaming me? You're just a worthless, cornered dog lashing out. In another room, Kair paced back and forth, her heart burning with anxiety. It's dangerous, but I promised Zhang Yi if I don't do this, I'll definitely die at their hands. After careful consideration, she made her decision. I'll help him. Zheng Hao laughed smugly, a satisfied look on his face. Ha ha ha! I knew you couldn't hold out! Kair straightened her back, her eyes filled with determination. I don't want to die. I want to live. Satisfied, he waved his hand and ordered, All right, go help him. Zhen Yu pointed to the kitchen counter, demanding, The axe and the firewood are over there. Chop it up for me. She immediately obeyed, meekly picking up the axe. When she showed signs of being distracted, he warned her. Watch it! Don't let the fire go out! Kair lowered her head. Yes, sir. But inside, she was silently calculating. Good thing they're not suspicious of me. Now should be my chance to make a move. When no one else was around, she quickly took out a small vial and secretly poured it into the bubbling pot of broth. The faint smell of the medicine blended with the aroma of the soup, leaving no unusual trace. She bit her lip and covered her mouth to keep from vomiting at the mixed smell, then stirred it evenly. The 5 men, including Zheng Hao, gathered happily around the table. He leaned back, scooped up a spoonful to taste, his eyes filled with satisfaction. I never thought the day would come when Dr. Zhu would have to join the likes of us. Kair held her bowl, pretending to be scared. I'll go eat in my room. One of the men commented arrogantly, Brother Hao is right. Even a great beauty has to stoop low when she can't stand the hunger anymore. She quietly left the room and gently closed the door. In total, she had used more than half a bottle of sleeping pills. One pill could make a person fall into a deep sleep for half a day. Now her heart pounded in her chest, a testament to her nervousness. All she could do now was wait and pray they wouldn't realize that the pot of soup had been tampered with by her. In less than a minute, the effects were obvious. Hu Fei's voice grew softer and softer. Why am I so sleepy today? Qing Hao also started to doze off, his head leaning against the back of his chair. You've had a full meal. Don't you want to sleep? Han Yi hid behind the wall, observing the situation. The effects of the drug had kicked in. She anxiously texted Trungdik, I gave them a lot of sleeping pills. They've all fallen asleep. What are you going to do next? He immediately commanded over the phone, drag them out onto the balcony. After putting Qin Hao's group into a stupor, Kan Yi obediently followed Trungdik's instructions and dragged them out onto the balcony. From across the railing, he observed and offered his praise. Very good. Qin Hao and his dogs are all here. She wrapped her arms around her trembling body, white smoke puffing from her breath in the night air, and asked softly, Are you going to kill them? He tightened his grip on his gun with one hand and threw a rope to Kan Yi with the other. Not me. You are. Trungdik's even voice rose to give the order. Search Tran Qin Hao for his pistol and give it to me. Then use this rope to tie their hands behind their backs to the railing. Hearing this, she tilted her head slightly, her brows furrowed with annoyance. You're being overly cautious, she fumed internally. Can't you come over and help me a little? As if understanding her thoughts, he raised his weapon towards Kan Yi and gave a casual smile. Better safe than sorry. I won't expose myself to any risk, no matter how small. Without further hesitation, she immediately did as he said, tying them up tightly. Then she carefully leaned over and prepared to draw the weapon tucked behind her back. Across from her, Trungdik watched the scene. He then urged her, take the magazine out of the gun and throw it to me, along with the gun. After that, you can go back inside. With the items in her hand, Kan Yi hesitated for a moment. How can I trust you? What if you go back on your word afterward? He didn't bother explaining, his affirmation cutting through the air like a blade. You have no choice but to trust me. After a moment of silent contemplation, she quickly removed the magazine. Then she gathered her strength, got a running start, and threw it over to Trungdik. As the gun flew towards him, he easily caught it. He then fell into deep thought as he examined its appearance. It looks just like the one on the screen. This is the one Tran Chin Hao had. Thinking this, he went back inside, leaving Kan Yi to wonder, what is he planning to do? A few seconds later, a stream of ice-cold water suddenly shot out into the freezing air. From inside his house, Trung Dik casually dragged a water hose and sprayed it directly at Chin Hao's group. Kan Yi ducked into the room and stared out in shock. He wants to freeze these people to death. Such a cruel method, but it's safe and effective. The sudden cold jolted Chin Hao awake, and he let out a scream, "Ah!" The whole group instantly woke up, with Tran Vu shivering and yelling loudly. "It's so cold, I'm going to freeze to death," Deng Lun grumbled angrily. "Who did this? Where did this water come from?" As for Chin Hao, he gritted his teeth, his head spinning with a ton of questions. "What's going on?" "I was drugged." At that thought, he whipped his head to the side and roared Trung Dik's name. From the opposite side, he looked at them and delivered their sentence. "You've all caused enough trouble. It's time for you to be reincarnated." As soon as he finished speaking, he decisively twisted the nozzle, making the hose roar at maximum power. Instantly, a high-pressure stream hissed out, blasting a freezing torrent towards the other side. Seeing Chin Hao's group go still, Trung Dik's lips curled into a satisfied smile. "All right. After all, it's a waste of water to spray people who aren't going to live for long anyway." And in that moment, they were frozen solid, their lives officially over. At the same time, Kan Yi received a call from him. "You've passed the test. You can come over now." Hearing that announcement, her knees buckled in relief, and she replied softly, "Okay, I'll be right there." Trung Dik aimed his gun straight at the door, his face filled with vigilance as her voice came through. "I'm at the door now." He watched Kan Yi's image through the security camera at the door and felt satisfied. Scan shows no dangerous items. Good, after making sure everything was safe, he turned around and called out loudly, "You can come in!" Receiving his approval, Kan Yi was extremely careful as she pushed the heavy door and stepped inside. As soon as her foot was in, she immediately took off her thick coat, while Trung Dik quickly shut the door behind her. "Ha! Ha! It's so hot." Sitting down on the floor, she closed her eyes to feel the heat. This kind of warmth, it's really been too long since I've felt it. Suddenly, Trung Dik appeared silently behind her, the cold barrel of his gun pressing against Kan Yi's back. "Dr. Chu, have you perhaps forgotten something important?" He suddenly moved closer, his voice a provocative whisper in her ear. "For example, proving to me that you're harmless." Hearing those words made Kan Yi blush. A flustered look crossed her face as she asked hesitantly, "So, what do you want me to do?" He smiled and answered succinctly, "It's very simple. Prove you have no weapons that can harm me." Then, Trung Dik tilted his head slightly, his meaningful gaze sweeping over her as if to probe her every thought. "You've decided to be in the same boat as me. To treat each other with honesty and be completely harmless, isn't that right?" A few seconds later, Kan Yi slowly began to shed her layers of clothing to prove it. "Can it happen now?" Trung Dik leaned back in his chair, watching her with admiration. "Very good. Your attitude is perfect." Next, he grabs a large towel and hands it to her. "First, go take a hot bath. You've suffered for many days." Then he pushes Kan Yi forward, indicating the way to the bathroom. Each movement silently urges her to hurry. Before the door closes completely, Trung Dik casually adds one more instruction. "As if by habit, I picked out an outfit in your size. Try it and see if it fits. If not, I'll find you another one right away." The room fell silent, with only the sound of running water echoing. Trung Dik glanced over Kan Yi's injection kits with extreme interest, then without hesitation, stored them all in his dimensional space. Confiscated. A few minutes later, she appeared, looking a bit shy, and spoke gratefully. "I'm done bathing. Thank you. The clothes you gave me fit perfectly." Seeing her come out, he patted the seat next to him with a slightly mischievous smile. "Sit down. Sit." Trung Dik even gently blow-dries Kan Yi's hair and reminds her in a low voice, "You must remember, I let you in because you still have value to me. That's your privilege." Next, he emphasizes every word as a warning for her to stay in her place. "Therefore, you must obey my orders. If you have any treacherous schemes, I won't hesitate to eliminate you." Hearing these words makes Kan Yi understand clearly. This guy is truly cold-blooded to the core. Trung Dik leans forward, pointing his hand straight towards the end of the hallway. "The second room is for you. It's under full surveillance. The door and room are made of special materials. You can only enter and exit at the times I allow. If you don't agree, you can leave now. After a moment's thought, Ka-ni nods in agreement. Okay, I'll listen to you. He leisurely combs a lock of her hair while smiling with satisfaction. A wise choice. You already know what the situation is like outside. Besides relying on me, I'm afraid there's no better way out. Then he lowers his voice, his words laced with hidden meaning. Therefore, now I'm going to tell you a secret, and you must listen carefully. Ka-ni's curiosity is suddenly piqued. A secret? You want to tell me? Trong-dik toys with Ka-ni's hair as he speaks. A shared secret is a crucial link in establishing a cooperative relationship. I dare to do this because I'm not afraid of it being exposed. Then he continues his story. The people who wanted to kill me before, I've already eliminated them. It's not like you didn't see for yourself. Ka-ni just replies softly, I understand. Suddenly, Trong-dik changes the subject. You must have realized that the gamma-ray burst caused this blizzard. It didn't just change the climate. It also gave ordinary people special abilities. A second later, an item suddenly appears in his hand. I gained a superpower. I have my own dimensional space. Then, Trong-dik frankly reveals the truth. Most of my supplies are stored in this dimensional space. When I die, those items will also disappear, so only as long as I'm alive. Will you have a chance to enjoy them? Learning this secret leaves Ka-ni bewildered. So, superpowers really exist? Trong-dik cuts off her train of thought. Here, eat. This is your share. Hearing that, she desperately shoves all the food into her mouth, almost choking. His eyes never leave Ka-ni. You still haven't earned my complete trust. You need to understand what needs to be done. The chores around the house. Don't make me assign them one by one. With that, Trong-dik decisively delegates everything. The drainage pipes are frozen. When you use it, remember to throw the plastic bag out through the secret hatch in the window. Before Ka-ni can even speak, he continues as if he knows what she wants to say. Exchanging labor for food is the duty of a maid. Besides that, what else can you give me? She replies in a shy voice, I understand, master. After that, the two of them became entangled. In just a moment, the atmosphere grew heated. They tumbled onto the comfortable sofa below. This situation makes Ka-ni extremely embarrassed, but facing this reality, she can only resign herself to it. In the end, she and Trong-dik had an unforgettable night. In a flash, it was the next day. He looks at the still sleeping Ka-ni with a hint of guilt. Looks like I was too rough on her last night. But it was already late, so Trong-dik spoke up to wake her. Do you want to come out and get something to eat? Still half asleep, her voice has a slightly pouting tone. A moment later, Ka-ni decisively gets out of bed. Okay, I'm coming right now. By now, Trong-dik's gaze is entirely that of someone raising a pet, so he's satisfied with her appetite. After a while, he asks caringly, Are you done eating? Ka-ni answers innocently, Not full yet, but I can't eat too much at once, or it'll easily cause gastritis. Hearing this, Trong-dik gets the main point. So that means you're done eating. As soon as he realized this, he unexpectedly threw a coat at her. Over here, time to work. Following Trong-dik, Ka-ni asks, What do we have to do? His expression turns as fearsome as a demon's. Go smash! That pile? Ka-ni takes the club Trong-dik gives her and can't help but ask curiously, The dead are already dead. Why do we still have to do this? His face darkens. A bad person who becomes a corpse is still a bad person. They're as disgusting as flies. As he speaks, Trong-dik's voice grows even colder. Smashing these corpses serves as a warning, to let the others understand who is the most difficult person to deal with. With that, he casually steps aside. For the sake of our solid contract, it's your turn to take the stage. These words make Ka-ni feel completely helpless. You're being way too cautious. Afterwards, she walks alone to the frozen corpses and, without a word, decisively smashes them to pieces. From a distance, Trong-dik records the entire process. Ka-ni looks up, puzzled. Are you recording a video? Seeing this, he calmly explains, Just documenting the journey a bit, for those dishonest people to see. Trong-dik's words carry a threatening undertone. We also have to let them know who the boss of this building is now. A moment later, that video was sent to the homeowner's group chat. After seeing it, everyone in the building was overjoyed. That guy was finally dead. "We can leave our homes now. That bastard, it's great that he's dead. Ha ha!" Then Zhang Yi's voice rang out. "Chen Zhenghao is dead. From now on, this building will be under my management." A series of messages were sent to him. "Chen Zhenghao, did you take care of him? You're amazing, Zhang Yi. Do you have any food left in your house? I'm about to starve to death." Suddenly, a call from Fang Yuting came, which surprised him quite a bit. She was actually still alive. As soon as he answered, the voice on the other end came through. "Zhang Yi, are you with Zhuke right now?" Then she pleaded earnestly, "Zhang Yi, Gege, can Tinger come over to your place? You're not allowed to be with another woman. You're mine." But he just laughed scornfully. "You're not dead yet?" Her words made Yuting misunderstand. "So that's it, brother Zhang Yi thought I was dead. Is that why he let that slut Zhuke into his house?" She sobbed. "Brother Zhang Yi, I'm still alive. I'm the one who loves you the most. Hurry and kick her out of your house." Suddenly, Yuting cried out pitifully, "Let me go. I want to go to Zhang Yi's place." Of course, Wang Min and Ai Ning wouldn't let her go so easily. "You made us suffer like this. You're the one who deserves to die. Go to hell with me." Witnessing that scene, Care nestled against him timidly. I won't be like her, so you can rest assured." As expected, this action made his face flush bright red. But just a second later, Zhang Yi's attitude changed. "I wonder if Fang Yuting would go crazy with rage if she saw me and Zhu Keir together." While Yuting was pinned to the ground, her phone suddenly rang. "Tinger, you're a good person, but I've met someone better." Hearing that, she threw everything aside to grab the phone, but what she saw was an intimate photo accompanied by a message. "You'll wish us happiness, right?" Seeing it, Yuting roared like a wild animal. "You can't do this to me! Tinger loves you the most! She must be tricking you! Give me another chance!" But just one sentence from Zhang Yi has shattered her dream. "There's no need. Keir and I are truly in love. We shouldn't contact each other anymore." Yuting's mood completely collapsed. "I don't believe it! Zhang Yi, you were so devoted to me before. How could you change your mind just like that?" She wailed in despair. "It's all that bitch Keir's fault!" Seeing Yuting in such a pathetic state, Wang Min and Ai Ning couldn't help but gloat. "This is karma. You totally deserve what you're getting today." At this point, Zhang Yi was temporarily satisfied. That's enough fun for now. No need to pay any more attention to this woman. She'll die in this apocalypse anyway. Suddenly, he turned to Care and asked, "Do you think I'm very cruel?" But she didn't think so. "I believe you must have your reasons for doing that." Hearing those words made Zhang Yi extremely pleased. "As long as you understand." A little while later, Care finished cooking the meal and announced, "Lunch is ready." However, Zhang Yi didn't eat right away, but carefully tested the food she made first. "You taste it first." Suddenly, a threatening message was sent to Sun He, threatening everyone to send food or she would shoot them. Meanwhile, as Care ate, she thought, "Is he afraid I poisoned the food?" Suddenly, Zhang Yi spoke up. "I remember the first person Chen Zhenghao shot was Auntie Lin. It's a miracle she's survived until now." Seeing his interest, she began to recount the story. "At first, when I went to examine Lin Xiaohu, I felt sorry for them. And so, I gave them some supplies." His expression immediately darkened. That reaction made Care extremely scared. "The blizzard had just started back then. I thought it would be over quickly. Now that I know the situation, I definitely won't be so careless again." However, Zhang Yi's expression still hadn't softened. "That's not the issue." He continued to interrogate her. "The supplies you gave them must have run out long ago. What has she been relying on to survive until now?" At this point, Care explained in a fluster, "Lin Xiaohu, because there was no medicine. He died about 10 days ago." After hearing this, Zhang Yi just scoffed. "So that's how it is." Unexpectedly, a loud laugh came from outside. "Ha ha ha!" Luo Yun's laughter didn't stop, echoing mournfully. Even as he was about to hit the ground, he still welcomed it with glee. Witnessing that scene, Care could only sigh. When will this snowstorm ever end? But Zhang Yi was incredibly calm. Who knows? As long as we can survive, that's all that matters. Suddenly, his device vibrated. Zhang Yi quickly answered the call. "Hello?" Geguang from the other end of the line shyly asked, "Zhang Yi, haha. Nephew, are you still doing okay?" Zhang Yi replied in a generous voice, Uncle View, no need to be so formal with me. Just say what's on your mind. If I can help, I'll definitely do my best. But in his heart, he was calculating. Uncle View is a good person, and he's skilled in martial arts. If I win him over now, he'll work for me later. On the other end of the line was the sound of Tang Bao crying loudly.
Wah!
Hearing this, Guang was extremely worried. Tang Bao has a fever. We don't have any medicine in the house. Me and the kid's mom are going crazy with worry. Then he hesitated before asking Zhang Yi, Nephew, do you have any medicine at your place? He didn't answer right away, but thought in silence. Uncle View has been single his whole life. Xi Limei is young and has a good figure. She probably approached him herself. He couldn't control himself, and after giving it some thought, Zhang Yi put on an act. I've still got a few boxes here, Uncle. Just come by and pick them up later. Guang was overjoyed to hear he could get help. Zhang Yi, how can I ever thank you? He then promised, if you ever need anything, I'll be there for you, no questions asked. Hearing this, Zhang Yi smiled warmly. There's no need to say that. Uncle Wei, you're closer to me than family. Then he urged, don't be so formal with me. Hurry up and come get the medicine. After the call ended, Zhang Yi's expression immediately changed. That Xi Limei is really something else. Out of all those people, she was the only one who found the best option. Suddenly, Care, who was beside him, spoke up. Are you and Uncle Wei really that close? But he answered bluntly, in a chaotic world, people act out of self-interest. That's true even in the apocalypse. Then, Zhang Yi analyzed the situation. Uncle Wei is a decent man. Plus, he's a very strong fighter. Having him owe me a favor will come in handy in the future. Perhaps from talking for so long, his throat had gone hoarse, and he had finished his entire glass of water. After finishing his drink, Zhang Yi added, Besides, I don't want to see the good in him get extinguished in a world like this. That's an incredibly precious thing. A moment later, there was a knock at his door. Zhang Yi? It's Uncle Wei Guang. Are you home, kiddo? When he saw someone else was with Guang, Zhang Yi frowned. What's she doing here? Instead of going out, he called from inside, Is that you, Uncle Wei? Guang quickly replied, Yeah, it's me. Limei suddenly cut in. Zhang Yi, my Bao Bao has a persistent high fever. Please, you have to help her. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Yi pushed a box of medicine out. Then hurry up and give the medicine to the child. Getting sick these days is no small thing. With the box of medicine right in front of him, Guang hastily picked it up, thanking Zhang Yi profusely. Thank you so much. However, Limei still wasn't satisfied. She pleaded loudly. Zhang Yi, I'm begging you, can you please let Bao Bao stay in your apartment for a little while? Her voice grew more and more desperate. Bao Bao is sick. Please help us. This only made Zhang Yi more disgusted. This is just bottomless greed. If I let the child in, she'll just be taking advantage of the situation for her own benefit. He then put on a thoughtful expression. Miss Ji, during these extraordinary times, I can't just let other people into my home. Besides, the coal is about to run out. The temperature is dropping too. Not wanting to make things any more difficult for Zhang Yi, Guang quickly tried to persuade Limei. Zhang Yi has already been more than kind to us. Let's go back and put on some more layers. But she just snapped back at him. What do you know? Bao Bao is just a little girl. How is she supposed to endure this? Tears began to stream down Limei's face as she cried out desperately to Zhang Yi. I'm begging you, for Bao Bao's sake and for Uncle Wei's. Please, just let her stay in your apartment for a little while. Zhang Yi continued to play his part. If this were before the apocalypse, I would have agreed in a heartbeat. But you both know. His voice dropped as he played the victim. Right now, in this very building, and everyone wants me dead so they can take my home for themselves, I'm genuinely terrified. As expected, this tactic worked on Guang. He's right. Zhang Yi has already done more than enough for us. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get medicine these days? However, Limei still tried to argue, but he let that Chu Care stay with him. His response was blunt. Chu Care is my girlfriend. Is that a problem? Those words struck a chord in Care's heart. Even though he was just making it up on the spot, for some reason, she was still overjoyed to hear him say it. Not wanting to make the situation any more awkward, Guang quickly urged, Let's go. Stop causing him more trouble. But Limei stubbornly refused to leave. I know, I don't want to do this either. It's all for our child. Before he left, he didn't forget to apologize. Sorry about this, Zhang Yi. Please don't hold this against her. Thank you so much. Hearing this,
Zhang Yi quickly replied, "It's all right. I completely understand." A moment later, he returned inside, looking exhausted. Having Xi Lemay around is such a headache. Seeing this, Kayer chimed in, "Aren't there a lot of people like her out there?" As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Yi rested his head on her lap, his mood relaxing. "You have a point." He then added, "But my relationship with Uncle Wei is pretty good. I have to be careful, so she doesn't ruin my plans from the inside." At the same time, an argument was breaking out at Kei Guang's place. "Why do you have to be so greedy? How could you ask someone to take care of our child for us?" But Lemay retorted stubbornly, "Wasn't I doing it for our daughter? If something happened to her, what would be the point of me even living anymore?" Her words softened his heart. "It's not that I don't understand, but people should at least be grateful," Kei Guang said in a grateful tone. "If it weren't for Zhang Yi, I never would have thought to stockpile supplies. I have to find a way to repay this kindness." Suddenly, Lemay's attitude shifted. "Actually, I don't think you need to feel so indebted to Zhang Yi. I mean, he's still on guard around you, isn't he?" Then she kept nagging, saying he was probably just giving you a small favor, hoping you'd be his lackey in the future. As if that guy is actually a good person. How could someone who used such ruthless methods to kill a dozen of his neighbors be a good person? Lemay kept bad-mouthing him nonstop, saying, "His apartment is huge. It wouldn't be crowded even with the two of us there. What's the big deal?" At that point, Kei Guang couldn't take it anymore and yelled, "That's enough!" His expression turned fierce. "Don't you ever say things like that again. I, Wang Kequang, know the difference between right and wrong. To even suspect my own benefactor—"
What kind of person would that make me?
Seeing things had gone too far, Lemay panicked. "I'm sorry, I was wrong, but I was just looking out for you. In times like these, it's not wrong to be a little more careful." To avoid another argument, Kei Guang suggested, "I'll sleep in the living room tonight. You and our daughter can take the big blanket." She reluctantly agreed, and that was the end of it. "Okay, I'll bring the mattress over right now." However, deep down, Lemay was still stubborn. She couldn't let it go and was determined to find a chance to get into Zhang Yi's apartment. Then she looked at Tang Bao, her eyes filled with resolve. "Bao Bao, Mom and you are going to survive. No matter the cost, I don't care." By now, snow had completely covered everything. Only the tall buildings were lucky enough to survive in the vast sea of snow. Suddenly, someone was digging furiously. A moment later, the snow in front of the building began to crack. Right after, a group of people led by Tian Fong appeared. He wore a sinister smile and ordered the people behind him to head upstairs. On the way, they suddenly ran into Zhang Meng, who was carrying a bucket of water somewhere. Seeing him, Tian Fong and his gang aggressively gave chase. "Don't let him get away!" But before Zhang Meng could get far, he took a heavy blow to the back of his neck. After taking him down, the man turned and asked, "Second uncle, what should we do?" Tian Fong quickly replied, "Just leave him here for now. We'll take him with us when we're done." By this time, they had reached the 24th floor. Standing before the door, he signaled, "Old Lu, come over here and break it down." Hearing this, Lu Shui hurried forward. "Leave it to me." He skillfully lit the fuse of a homemade explosive. After doing so, Lu Shui quickly ran for cover, shouting as he went, "Cover your ears!" The words had barely left his mouth when a huge explosion went off behind them, sending dust flying. The deafening sound woke Zhang Yi from a deep sleep. "An explosive, right outside my door." He quickly grabbed his gun for defense, not forgetting to check the surveillance cameras in the living room and spare bedroom. Thankfully, everything inside was still calm and safe. Watching the troublemakers on the screen, Zhang Yi quietly wondered, strangers, could they be from another building? He carefully observed what they were carrying. Their weapons are rebar, wooden planks, and axes. They even have formwork boards used on construction sites. After a moment of analysis, Zhang Yi came to a conclusion. It's the hired construction workers from the 26-story building next door. It must be them. His expression turned grim. They're targeting me. I'm afraid information about my home has already been leaked. At that moment, Tian Fong stood outside the door, grumbling, "Old Lu, what kind of shoddy work is this? Why didn't this piece of junk explode properly?" Not only him, but Lu Shui was also completely bewildered. "That can't be right. I mixed the explosives myself. There shouldn't be any problems. Could it have gotten damp?" As he finished speaking, Tan Chung, who was in the back, suddenly spoke up. "If that won't work, let's just break it down by hand." Their vicious actions pushed Zhang Yi to the peak of his anger. So they want to take my life? He let out a sneer. Let's see if you all have enough lives to spare. Suddenly something appeared in Zhang Yi's hand. White phosphorus. A simplified version of a phosphorus round. When it burns, the temperature can exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. Then, he decisively threw it out the door. The scene outside instantly descended into absolute chaos. It's an incendiary round! Scatter to the sides, quick! But before they could escape, they were engulfed in flames, their senses overwhelmed by extreme pain. Ah! Ah! Lu Shui was thrashing around in the fierce blaze. Help me! Help me! The words had barely left his mouth when a bullet whizzed past, aimed straight for his head. After that, Zhang Yi fired relentlessly, sending countless bullets outside. The scene outside was utter chaos. Someone's shooting! Where's it coming from? Ah, second uncle, save me! Before the man could scream any longer, another bullet flew out and ended his life. A moment later, not a single one of the construction workers was left alive. After dealing with them, Zhang Yi mused to himself, "Good thing the gun I bought isn't a machine gun. Otherwise, I would have used up 100 rounds by now." He thought to himself, "The blizzard has already culled most of the weak. From now on, only the strong will remain. I must create more powerful weapons." Zhang Yi's expression became terrifying. These people came prepared. I can only rest easy once they're all dead. Just as the thought crossed his mind, he reached Keir's side. "It's okay now." Seeing him, she looked up, her voice trembling slightly. "Zhang Yi!" But a second later, Keir suddenly started as if she remembered something. She quickly stood up and tried to justify herself. I wasn't scared. I just thought it was an earthquake." Hearing that, Zhang Yi retorted, "This is the 24th floor. If it were a real earthquake, you'd be crushed no matter where you hid." Keir deftly changed the subject. "What happened just now?" A few minutes passed. After getting a clear picture of the situation, she came to a conclusion. "In that case, those construction workers are even more dangerous than Chen Zhenghao." Zhang Yi's calm voice finished her sentence. "He relied on his gun to bully ordinary people. On the other hand, the construction workers are physically strong. And since they live together, they know each other well." A murderous aura emanated from his face. "It's a good thing I killed the one who knew how to make explosives. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sleep peacefully at night." Perhaps out of worry, Keir turned and asked, "So, what do we do now?" "Do we need to get revenge?" Zhang Yi affirmed without hesitation. "Of course, but I won't be doing it myself." He then added, "If we want to live peacefully from now on, we'll still need to find some cannon fodder." After saying that, Zhang Yi turned his attention to the apartment complex's group chat. Since a few people were asking about what had just happened, he gave them a rough summary of the story. After hearing his story, the residents were a little worried, but they admired him even more. Suddenly, Zhang Yi typed, "Dealing with them used up a lot of my ammo. Now it's hard for me to even guarantee my own safety. Everyone, you're on your own. Good luck." Just then, he got a call from Uncle View. The moment he answered, Kei Guang's voice came through. "Zhang Yi, are you all right? Is there anything I can do to help?" "I've had drinks with Tianfang's crew before. I can't believe they'd dare to come after you." Hearing this, Zhang Yi carefully considered his options. "It's better to be safe. For now, I have no plans for revenge. But if you're familiar with them..." A devious smile spread across his face. "Why don't you tell me exactly what their situation is? It'll make it easier to come up with a plan. A strategy for all of us to deal with them together." Kei Guang checked with Zhang Yi again. "So what you're saying is, we should band together to deal with outsiders, just like Huang Tianfang's crew?" He answered without hesitation. "Exactly. That's the only way we'll have a chance of winning." Seeming to understand, he immediately suggested, "All right, I'll bring this up in the group chat right now and see how many people agree." Hearing that, Zhang Yi just gave a faint smile. "There's no need for that. It would just make them think you're trying to stir up trouble. Worse, they'll think you're getting ahead of yourself." His words only confused the other man even more. "Then what's our move?" Zhang Yi thought of the people lying scattered outside and said casually, "There's no rush. We still have plenty of supplies in here. We just have to wait. If the Tianhe gang comes once, they'll come a second time. I took out a lot of their men, so they'll definitely come for revenge. When that happens, the neighbors in this building will have no choice but to help."
His plan made Guang sigh in admiration of Zhang Yi. "You're a genius. Let's do it your way." After hanging up, he turned to Care. "I need to ask you for a favor." She immediately asked, "What is it?" Suddenly, Zhang Yi's hand seductively touched Care's lips. "Right now, those neighbors, they may praise me to my face, but deep down, they're both scared and resentful of me. There are some things I definitely can't do myself." The gesture made her blush deeply, and she could only manage a small, He immediately clapped her on the shoulder, full of confidence in her. "Your mission for the next 2 days is to gather intelligence, discreetly. I'm entrusting it to you and Uncle View. The sooner we get a clear picture of the power distribution in this entire complex, the bigger our advantage will be." Care didn't hesitate, clenching her fist. "I'll do my best." 2 days later, she was tapping a marker against a whiteboard. "I've combined the information Uncle View managed to overhear with the intel I gathered." She then began writing on the board as she explained. "Right now, our most difficult problem is the Tianhe gang in the adjacent Building 26. They were formed from a small construction crew from the Tianhe group. Their combat strength is very high, and their main weapons are crowbars and iron pipes. They don't have any firearms yet." Then Care circled an area of concern. "The other organization that poses a significant threat is in Building 21. Her pen tapped the name on the board as she spoke. "The 2 leaders are Wang Qiang and Xiao Lu. Before the disaster, they were just a couple of delinquents who stayed at home. Their members are mostly young men in their early 20s. They're physically fit and have nicknamed themselves the Mad Wolf Gang." At some point, Zhang Yi had moved in closer to get a better look, causing Care's cheeks to flush pink. "As for the heads of the other apartment buildings, there aren't many of them left. Most have either given in to despair and taken their own lives, or they've killed each other over scarce supplies, leading to a significant drop in their numbers. Nothing to be scared of." He placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Keep gathering intel, especially on whether or not they have any guns. This is critical. We have to minimize the risks as much as possible." At this point, she was so flustered she could barely speak, stammering, "Oh, okay." In another room, a voice reported, "Second uncle, it's all been taken care of." Tianfeng looked down at the motionless young man, satisfied. "Not bad," he said. "If we can't get to Zhang Yi, then we'll just get rid of the other useless residents in this building." Then, he didn't forget to write on the nearby wall, "Zhang Yi, if you don't come out, I'll wipe out all of your neighbors." He looked at the words with a smug expression. "When those people get scared enough, they'll automatically go crying to you for help." Just then, messages started flooding the group chat. "Zhang Yi, this is your mess. You fix it. You're the one who brought the Tianhe gang here. This whole disaster is your fault. What does it have to do with us? You made your bed. Now lie in it. You can't expect everyone else to pay the price for your actions. If you have any conscience at all, you'll go out there yourself." Having just finished a shower, Zhang Yi saw this and couldn't help but marvel. They turn on you just as fast as they surrender. But a few messages like that weren't enough to scare him. He immediately sent a reply to the group. "It's not like I asked them to come here. So because I took them out, I'm the one in the wrong? Your inability to fight them has nothing to do with me. If they're so dangerous, why should I be the one to go out there?" A girl quickly replied, "But if you're safe, what about us? Aren't you just leaving us here to die?" Then came a sanctimonious message from another resident. "You're the one who brought them here. Why should we have to suffer for it? Has your conscience been eaten by a dog?" Losing patience with this cowardly mob, he bit his lip. Zhang Yi fired off 2 angry messages in quick succession. "Like I care what happens to any of you. What the hell do your lives have to do with me? And don't you dare talk to me about conscience. Are you worthy? When you all attacked my home at the beginning, which one of you didn't have a hand in it?" He finished with a 7-second voice note. "You people don't actually think I wouldn't dare get rid of you, do you?" The moment the message played, Fang Chunhei and Shu Hao were terrified. Shu Hao threw his phone straight to the ground and cowered in his chair. "What do we do now? I thought after Chen Zhenghao was dead, we'd finally be able to live, but it turns out the Tianhe gang is even more ruthless. Can we really do nothing but wait to die?" Looking at the blizzard outside, the fear of death washed over him. This snowstorm wasn't going to let up anytime soon. Everyone was going to die. Everyone had to die. In stark contrast to Shu Hao's mood, Zhang Yi was perfectly relaxed. He called Uncle View. "It's time for you to play your part." Hearing this, Guang clenched his fist. "Just leave it to me." He immediately sent a message to the group chat. Everyone, don't panic. The Tianhe gang only has about 20 people. If we all unite, we can fight them. Yu Lu and the other residents quickly took heart. Uncle View, we'll all do everything we can to support you. The atmosphere in the chat began to shift. He also went with the flow. Your uncle's supplies have been depleted for days, and going hungry isn't an option. Now Zhang Yi has enough to eat and wear, and he even has weapons. It makes the most sense for him to lead. On the other end, Ke Guang leisurely sipped his coffee while watching the show unfold. You and Zhang Yi can still exchange a few words, so you should go find Zhang Yi and see if you can persuade him. 01, the young man sent a message. Uncle Wei, it's all up to you. Just as he finished, a message from Ke Guang arrived. Zhang Yi, what do we do now? Seeing the time was ripe, he sent a voice message with the next step. It's almost time for the crucial moment. When it comes, Uncle, you need to back me up so they'll honestly listen to me. I need both their gratitude and their fear. Only then will our building be safe. After that, Zhang Yi sent the recording to the homeowners group chat. I only came here to talk to you all out of respect for Uncle Wei, so you'd better know your place. Otherwise, immediately someone started sucking up to him. Zhang Yi, don't! From now on, we'll do whatever you tell us to do. Hearing this, the corner of his mouth curled up, his voice dripping with mockery. Huh, is that so? You'll do whatever I tell you to? The other party didn't hesitate to reply. As long as you don't tell us to go die, any other condition is fine. Zhang Yi leaned back comfortably into the soft sofa, raising an eyebrow as he asked sharply, What if I tell you to take up arms and risk your lives against the people from the Heavenly Gang? Would you do it? At the mention of that, their bravado faltered. Seizing the opportunity, he began to press them. I can't believe you people want me to be the one to risk my life. So tell me, why should I be the one to worry? About whether you all live or die? At the same time, Kahir was calmly enjoying the delicious food. As she listened to what happened next, she didn't forget to take Zhang Yi's share of the cake while he was busy making his point. When Huang Tianfang gets here, you all can just stick your necks out for him to chop. Goodbye. Ke Guang played along. Don't hang up. We'll all listen to you. Then he turned to persuade the others, while Care took the chance to feed him a piece of cake. We're out of options anyway. Taking a gamble is our only hope. I'm with him, so what are you all still hesitating for? If we risk it together, we might live. Are we just going to wait to be picked off one by one? He waited until the man finished speaking, then nonchalantly compromised, just as planned. Fine. From now on, everyone follows my orders. If anyone slacks off, don't blame me for making an example out of them. As soon as he hung up, the building's group chat immediately blew up with notifications. Fang Lin, get out here! Where's Liang Yulu? Stop hiding. He had no choice but to send a message. I just fell asleep. What's going on? Does everyone want to fight back? Let's do our best together. Seeing the tide turning in his favor, Zhang Yi added another comment to seal the deal. The situation is critical now. Anyone who dares to hide in the back, too, is a traitor to this entire building. A person like that deserves to die. His fingers flew as he typed out each word, mixing threats with promises. But everyone, don't worry. If you listen to my command now, then I definitely won't let you starve. As long as you listen to me, I'll go out and help everyone find supplies. With that settled, Zhang Yi rubbed his chin thoughtfully. To hold the building, I have to ensure they have combat strength, go out to find supplies, collect weapons, increase firepower, and transportation. Suddenly, he remembered the 2 vehicles he had stored. In my alternate dimension, I have a snowmobile and a smaller skidoo. Getting them out is a piece of cake. With a blizzard like this covering the city, it's nearly impossible for others to go outside. But Zhang Yi could move freely throughout the city. Reading the message, a resident found it hard to believe. Zhang Yi, you can go out and find supplies. The snow is so thick. Are you planning to wade through it? At this moment, he instantly transformed into a benevolent and patriotic leader. But for everyone's sake, I have to go out and try. Seeing the plan succeed, Ke Guang and Lei Mai also breathed a sigh of relief. With every word from Zhang Yi, don't worry, I worked in warehouses for many years. I know exactly where every warehouse, large-scale shopping center, and supermarket in Tianhai City is. In contrast, Chun-Hei's face suddenly fell when she heard what came next. Since I've become the leader, I must be responsible for every single one of you. A bit of light returned to Shu Hao's hollow eyes after so many days. And the supplies in my home are about to run out too. Going out to find supplies is the only way for us to survive. Those words moved many people, and also fueled the triumphant look on the face of the one who started it all. Wow, Zhang Yi, I'm really touched. After how we treated you at the beginning, and now you're still... From now on, we'll only listen to Brother Zhang. Seeing everything turn out so well, Kair said happily. Right now, they probably wish they could worship you like a god in a temple. In contrast, Zhang Yi's face suddenly became serious. They can't be considered my followers. They're just a bunch of cannon fodder. His silhouette seemed to carry a deep loneliness as he walked away. Just a small bit of grace is enough to make this crowd worship you like a deity. Hearing that, her voice softened slightly. But are you really going outside? Putting on a thick coat, Zhang Yi confidently reassured her. Don't worry, the supplies at home are enough to keep you alive. Then he pulled on a high-collared layer. I'm just looking for a suitable opportunity to go out and check on the situation. Seeing this, Kei said, Then I'll go with you. But before she could finish, he placed a finger on her lips to stop her. He playfully pinched her blushing cheeks, which were soft like dough, and gave her a mischievous, teasing smile. We're in this kind of relationship now. You think I would still doubt you? Then he waved cheerfully, his voice as light as a fleeting promise. I trust you 100%. Wait for me to get back, okay? With that, he snapped his fingers with a flourish. Zhang Yi silently walked through the deserted, blood-stained hallway on the 4th floor and approached the window. He slid it open, letting the biting cold wind rush in. Then he jumped out into the knee-deep snow. Looking at that white expanse made him think, walking in snow like this is a bit difficult. After that, Zhang Yi carefully looked around. Very good. There was no one around. And from up high, there was surely no one spying on him. Once he confirmed there were no trackers, a light shone from his hand, releasing the snowmobile. Unfortunately, while Zhang Yi might have a knack for jinxing things, he didn't have hawk eyes. From up high, someone was watching him drive away. However, he wasn't stupid. He even mused, looks like people will be targeting me for this snowmobile from now on. Being targeted didn't dampen Zhang Yi's spirits in the slightest. In fact, he was thrilled. He hadn't been outside in so long, and getting to race on the snow right away felt so exhilarating. In the end, he sped straight towards his intended destination, the Tianhai City Public Security Bureau. The baton in his hand swung decisively and smashed into the large glass panel in front of him. Zhang Yi held his flashlight and cautiously stepped inside. Each footprint on the ice-cold tiles echoed in the dead silence. The reception area was pitch black and deathly still, without a single soul in sight, as if this place had been long forgotten by time. In a dark corner, dark blue uniforms, frozen stiff in huddled positions, caught his eye. The police officers had been handcuffed and frozen to death. They were already cold. A few theories formed in Zhang Yi's mind. When the blizzard hit, they were probably on duty. They didn't even have any winter gear. Although he could sometimes be cynical and cold, he still pulled a cloth sheet up to cover them. No matter what the outcome, the people who once sacrificed themselves to protect this city all deserve respect. Suddenly, a glint flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. His intuition told him something was off. What is that? Right at the corner of the old cloth, something small but solid was peeking out, like an accidentally revealed clue that was left behind. As if striking gold, he pulled it up. For them to protect it with their lives, it must be related to the armory. What appeared from under the heavy cloth was a ring of iron keys. Zhang Yi picked up one of the keys and mumbled, Let's see now. The key to the gun vault must be the armory. He took his flashlight and entered the dark room. Seeing all sorts of guns, walkie-talkies, and ammunition made Zhang Yi overjoyed. He picked up a rifle, admiring it as he thought happily, There are pistols and Type 6 rifles, even a sniper rifle. The corner of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up as he looked through the scope. After being reborn, my mind is much steadier, and my accuracy has improved quite a bit. That time I dealt with Huang Tianfang, I barely missed a single shot. Finally, he didn't forget to praise himself with a thought, I'm definitely a genius shooter. After that moment of narcissism, Zhang Yi waved his hand and collected all the items into his storage space. With these things, it's enough to build a powerful combat team. Once the room was empty, he continued to plan his next move. Next, I should find some food for those cannon fodders. The snowmobile zipped through the relentless blizzard along with his train of thought. The supermarket near the apartment complex must have been cleaned out already. The chances of finding supplies are higher at the shopping mall farther from the city center. Arriving at a certain spot, Zhang Yi suddenly stopped and got off the vehicle. His arm quickly brushed away the thick layer of snow, and right under the snow was the glass door of the shopping mall, which made him cheer internally, "Found it!" After smashing the glass, Zhang Yi quickly dropped a rope and rappelled down. He walked past the glamorous displays and sighed. These were luxury brands he couldn't have afforded before, even after saving for half a year. Now they've all become worthless junk. As he walked, Zhang Yi's hands didn't forget to collect everything. The food should be on the first floor. I'll take anything useful I see on the way down. Right at the supermarket entrance, the apocalyptic blizzard had frozen all the food solid. He casually picked up an item, but his brows furrowed as he examined it. After the blizzard, almost all the food is spoiled. Zhang Yi rummaged through everything, then dropped his backpack, muttering, "I wouldn't eat this stuff even if you gave it to me for free." However, he still gave a wicked smile as he zipped up the bag. But for those people, this is more than good enough. After finishing his business, he drove back to the apartment building. Seeing that magnificent thing in the courtyard stirred greed in Tianfang's heart. "He has something like that too? And it can actually run on the snow. If we could get our hands on it, we could go out and find food later. Why should we keep suffering like this?" Yanzu, who was beside him, immediately explained, "Second uncle, I know what that is. Where I'm from, we call this a snowmobile. This is an electric snowmobile." Hearing this, the man made up his mind. Whatever it is, and we have to find a way to take it from him. Of course, Zhang Yi knew how many eyes were on him. A vehicle that could travel through snow was the only hope right now. After the blizzard, everyone will be targeting me. Good thing I got some firepower and new equipment this time. Inside the apartment, Ji Guang was already waiting. "Zhang Yi, my boy, I'm surprised I managed to find so much. Those 2 bags of stuff you tossed when you climbed in the supply window were really hard to find. I searched every supermarket and market nearby. This is all I could get." Zhang Yi raised his gun and spoke to the crowd crammed into the hallway. "To help everyone get these things. I went through a great deal of trouble." As he finished speaking, Kayer emptied the contents of the bags. Seeing the supplies tumble out, the crowd cheered wildly. "It's real food! There's even meat and vegetables! Long live Zhang Yi! Long live Zhang Yi! Long live Zhang Yi! Zhang Yi, you are our great hero. Big bro, from this day on, you are my real brother. Please accept a bow from your little brother." Seeing everyone's reaction, a satisfied smirk crossed his lips. Striking while the iron was hot, he continued to shout, "This food will of course be shared with everyone. But I, Zhang Yi, will absolutely not feed freeloaders. To get this food, you must take up arms and fight the enemy." Just as he finished speaking, a perfect example swaggered forward. "Hand over the food now." Seizing the opportunity, Zhang Yi pointed to the robbers outside the window. "Anyone who takes down one of them will be rewarded with 5 people's share of food." The residents of the apartment building were starving. Their cheeks were hollowed. Hearing his enchanting words, they began to mutter, "1 person, 5 people's food." Their eyes turned bloodshot, and they charged forward like madmen. "Charge! We'll get food if we kill them!" The robbers, who had been so aggressive just a moment ago, suddenly turned pale. The residents swarmed them, slashing wildly. Their hunger had given them strength from within. Zhang Yi and Kayer observed the chaotic crowd. "Go on, kill a few of them. They're all just food. The more you kill, the more you eat." A bunch of cowards coming here to die. They should go home and take a good look in the mirror. Ji Guang roared fiercely. "Charge together! There are only a few of them. We have the advantage." One of them fell quickly. The others witnessed their comrade go down. They instinctively stopped. Realizing the situation was not in their favor, they quickly fled, leaving the dying man on the snowy ground. Seeing that they had defeated the robbers, everyone cheered with joy. "We won! We drove those robbers away! We're getting food!" Looking at the young men from the fight who were bleeding, staining the snow red, Kayer's eyes widened. If they're treated in time, they can probably be saved. But she felt helpless and gently shook her head. Saving a life requires a large amount of specialized equipment and medicine. Zhang Yi wouldn't waste his precious supplies on them.